Hello everyone, good morning. Happy Saturday.
Good morning, Azeez.
Good morning and good evening. Good evening to you guys over there. Juliet, Ismail, and everyone, good evening. Good
Good
morning,
morning.
Mr. Good morning,
Hello.
Mr. Manuel. Hi.
Good morning.
Um, Let me copy this link. Yeah. So today we are pretty much going to finish. Good morning, Juliet. Good morning, Ismail. I keep saying good morning, good evening. Gorak, good evening. Um, okay. So today we are going to finish the Terraform module. We should probably be done on time unless if people have questions, right? Because we don't have that much stuff to build. But mainly today it will be in the Terraform project before. The first one we did the EC2. So in this Terraform module, we are going to deploy the same application in ECS. So that way you'll get exposed to both of them. You already have the code for EC2. Now you have the code for ECS if you were to deploy everything in ECS. Today, we are going to do the ECS portion, and that's the last part of it. So do the ECS role, the ECS service, then Route 53, and we are done. So it shouldn't be something too big. All right. Um, Let me share my screen. And I'm going to paste the link here so you guys can download the reference file that's the reference file for the Terraform module. Eventually, I think I'm done, but I still want to review everything one more time. Then once I finalize what the reference file should look like, I will send the full copy of it to you guys. But for now, we're just kind of like working as we go. So that's the reference file. Let me bring it over here so you guys can see. So, so when you get into that Google Drive storage, right? You will see pretty much all the reference file is there. The one we are going to work on today is the ECS role is in the IAM. So if you double click on the IAM, right, there will be an ECS role there. So you can select that folder here and click the download button to download it. Yeah, sorry. I couldn't tell if you guys were seeing my screen on YouTube. All right. Um, just a second. Let me just refresh. All right. So yes, so once you just download just the ECS one, because you already have the EC2 instance profile one. Then if you go back to the reference file, the next one you want to download is the ECS one. So select the ECS one here and click the download button to download it. And the last one you want to download is the Route 53. Select that Route 53 one and click download. And if you want to download the entire reference file, is here. You can just click on this reference up here and click the download. So that will download the entire zip folder for you. All right. So we are going to go into my folder where I downloaded to. Yeah. So it's my zip folder. I'm just going to unzip all of them now. Let me do it this way. Let me do it. Okay. So I'm going to unzip the ECS row. I'm going to unzip the ECS one. And I'm going to unzip the Route 53 one. All right. Okay, cool. Then you guys can open your Terraform module, the modules repository. Let me see what's going on here. Not so many files open.
Sorry, Aziz, did you say EC is the ECS the full
Yes.
ECS? Okay.
Yes, so hold on. I'll show you again. So you want to download the Route 53 ECS,
Yes.
and in the IAM, if you go in the IAM, you want to download the ECS role.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So once we've done that, we are in our Terraform module, right? So this is all the modules we have so far. If I minimize them, these are the modules. So what we are going to do is we'll start with the ECS role. So go into the ECS role one you unzipped, and you will drag it in the IAM one. So you see here I have it. I'm just going to click and hold it. Then I'm going to drag and drop it on the IAM one. So you should now get the ECS role one there. You can remove this ECS tax execution rule or delete that one. If you have that folder in yours, just delete it. So you should have the EC2 instance profile, IAM role, and the ECS role. And if you guys prefer, let's say you prefer to have this ECS role by itself, just sitting down here, you don't want to put it in the IAM one, you can do that too. When we work on the project that is calling the module, you guys pretty much know how to call it. You just call it the same way we are calling the rest of the modules. But the way I did it now, I'm going to have to go two directories into the module. So when I get in the IAM module, then I'll still have to specify which module in that IAM I want to call. By doing it this way, I am organizing the everything that has to do with IAM on that one IAM instead of having them all over the place. It's just a way to clean up your folder structure. All right. So that's that. We can now start. All right. So in the ECS role, you guys know the variable. I'm providing the variables, right? And the variable is just pretty much anything. We make the variables up. With variables are things we don't want to hard code into our code. So we just create a variable for it. So the variables we'll be using in this ECS role is the environment and project name. That's it. Then we have the main.tf. In this main.tf, there's nothing you have to change here because there's no reference to other modules except for the environment and the project name. So there's no reference to other project, but we can kind of go through it, right? So at the top here, we have the ECS tax execution rule. And here we have the tax rule. So this is creating two type of rule, the ECS tax execution rule and the tax rule. The tax execution rule is a rule that ECS needs itself. So when you create your ECS cluster, the task execution rule is the rule that cluster needs to do set up things in it, whatever it needs to set up and things it needs to do. The task rule, remember the first one I just explained, that's the task execution rule. That's what ECS itself needs. The task rule is the rule that once you deploy your ECS cluster and you now deploy your service in that cluster, which you guys know, your service deploys the container. The containers that itself, if they need to do anything like maybe access S3, access secrets manager, the task rule is what those containers will use. So think of it this way. The task execution rule is for the ECS cluster itself, ECS service, whatever it needs to do. And the task rule is for the containers that are running on the ECS service. So that's how you think of it. So first we'll create the task rule, the task execution rule. So here we remember we have to create the policy document, right? So here we are using the data source and we are using AWS IAM policy document. We gave it a name here. And here we are just is assume role. And the service that's going to assume the role is ECS service. So this is like on that trusted page when you go and create a role is on the trusted page. When you guys pick, the first thing you pick is what service can assume the role. That's this part. Then once you pick the service, you guys remember you have to now create the role. So this is the trusted part. And this is where we are creating the role. So here you can see the resource type is to create a role and it has a reference name. This is the name of the role. I'm calling it our environment, project name, task execution role. And the policy, pretty much the service that's going to assume this role. That's what you put here. And it is the service, whatever we created up here. So as you guys can see, it is document, right? Task execution rule policy.json. So that is where you connect it to the service that will assume the role. Then once you've done that, here we just give it like a tag name. Then once you've done that, you will now create once you've done that here, you will now create the policy that you want to attach to that role. And you guys know when we worked on it on project 3, we attach AWS ECS task execution role policy, right? So let's just go into management console. So just to refresh. In the management console, if we go to IAM here, you guys don't have to do it. I'm just showing you. If we go to IAM here, right, and you create a role, right, here you pick the service, right? Remember, this is where we pick ECS. So if I type ECS here, it's not going to show. I have to spell it out. Let's type Elastic Container Service, right? So that's the trusted part, the first part I was explaining. So once you select it here, you click next. And I think I picked the wrong one. So under this one, it should be Elastic Container Service tags. I think that's the one it is. So we'll click next here. Then on this page, this is where you pick the policy. Remember the policy we used is the Amazon ECS task execution rule policy. So here, you just type Amazon, I have my caps on, Amazon ECS tax execution rule policy, right? This is where you select the policy. But main thing I want to show you is that this is an AWS managed policy. You can see it here. So any AWS managed policy, when you are using it in Terraform, All you have to do is just enter the ARN of that policy. And that's what I was showing you just now. So if you go to policy, you can see it here, or if you just go to policies and you type the name of that policy, Amazon, any policy you want, Amazon, ECS, tax, execution rule policy, right? If you find that policy, select it, you'll see the details about the policy here, and you can copy the ARN of the policy here. So this ARN is what you are seeing in our Terraform code here. That's how you do it. You don't have to write Terraform code to construct whatever permissions is in that policy. Just go get the ARN of the AWS managed policy and paste it there. So that's how you create the role and attach that policy to it. And we are creating another role. It's the same thing. The policy document, which is how you specify which service will assume the role. Here you can see it is the ECS service. Then we create the role that we are attaching that document to. Then we attach the policies, the AWS managed policies to that role. The policies we're attaching to that role, the tax role is these 4 policies. You guys remember in that ECS project, these are the 4 policies we attach to it is Amazon S3 read-only access, CloudWatch logs full access, Secrets Manager read-write, and Amazon SSM full access. So these are the 4 policies. And if you need more policies later on for either one, you can just come here, copy one of these, paste it down here, and find the ARN if it is an AWS managed policy. But if it's a policy you are creating yourself, you can now create your own policy. But these are the rows. So that's it for the ECS row. Then the only thing is the output. So we need to export the tax execution row ARN, and we need to also export the ECS tax row ARN. So for the tax execution row, we are going to go to the main file. The tax execution row, we created it here. So here we are going to copy the resource type and the reference name. Then on the output, we would paste it here and remove the quotes, add a period, then at the end, add another period, and the attribute is ARN. We'll do the same thing for the tax row ARN. We'll go to the main.tf file. This is where we create the tax row. You can see the row here. So we'll copy the resource type and the reference name. Then go to our output, paste it here. Remove the quotes, add a period. Then at the end, add another period and type ARN. And that's all we need to do. And we are done with this module. So save your file. We have the main.tf output and variables. So we would push it. So here we're just going to type in commit message, create a ECS row. I'll click commit. Yes. And I'll click sync changes to push it. So now that we've pushed it, if we go into our repository, we go into our GitHub repository. In the IAM, you can see it here. So The next thing we'll do is just create the module. Not the module, but the project that's going to call it. So in our, let me make this bigger. In our project, I will go into Terraform module and in the main.tf. Right, this is the main.tf. We would just create a new module. So you can add a note and say, add a note here and just say create ECS role. Then we'll start with module, the module block. And the name of the module, we can call it ECS role. Then we'll add our source. So for the source, just copy the one under the first row we created. So the instance profile, you can copy that one because that's the closest one to it. So we'll copy this source here. Let me do that again. We'll copy this source here and paste it here. Right. And you guys know in that module, if I minimize here, in that module, so we are going in the IAM, and in the IAM, the module we are trying to call is the ECS rule. So you can right click here, rename and copy the name there, or you can type it. I always like doing the copy paste. So I'll copy the name, and here, instead of saying IAM instance profile, it will be IAM ECS rule. So once you've added the source, remember any module you are calling. So whatever module you are calling, this is a module we are calling. You go back into that module. And if the module has a variables file, whatever the variable name is, right? Whatever the variable name is, that's what you are going to list under your project that is calling it. So here, we go back to our project. The first variable is environment. So we type environment here. I shouldn't have typed it. I should have probably copied it, right? And the second variable is project name. So you can copy it. Yeah. Paste it here. So for our environment and project name, really, we created this in the VPC module, right? And we've used it throughout our project. So you can see it here, environment and project name, right? We specify the value in the VPC here. So we can just get the same value from the VPC module. And to get the value, it will be module, the name of the module, VPC, and the value, the output from that VPC we want to get. So really, you can just copy these two here, environment and project name. I was showing you this way just to, again, just continue to explain. But once you copy, you can paste it here. Zoom in the way, paste it. And we are done creating that module. So let's apply, because at the end, I'm going to apply now. I'm going to run Terraform apply. If I apply now, then I have to leave the terminal open. Or I can apply and we can continue working on, we'll work on the ECS module. Maybe by the time I'm done with the ECS module, that the apply will be done. So you know what? I'm going to apply now. So here, I'm going to save my file and open the terminal. I'm going to run Terraform init upgrade to I just want to re-download everything again. Then I'm going to run. Once that's done, it's still downloading. I'll wait for that to finish. Okay, perfect. Then now I'm going to run Terraform apply. Okay. Here it is asking us, these are all the resources. We'll create 45 resources. Pretty much because I destroyed it last week, so I'm recreating everything. So I'm going to type yes to create everything. So it is now creating all the infrastructure things we've already created before. So when it's done, it will create the ECS rule too. So does anyone have any question on that part before we move on to the next one? All right, cool. All right, so I'll just minimize this here. I'll just let it create. Then we can go to the module, then we can work on the next module. So the next module we'll work on is the ECS one. So in our folder again, go to your downloads and open the ECS one. And you see the ECS folder here. It has the main, output, and variables in there. So just click and hold it and drag and drop it. Don't drop it in any of this folder. Just drop it somewhere down here. So that way, and once you drop it, click copy folder and you should see it there. If you open it, we have the main.tf, the output.tf, and the variables.tf. So these are all the variables we will use in this ECS resource, right? And we'll cover them as we go, but these are the variables. Then let's start with the main.tf. In the main.tf, the first resource will create the ECS cluster. This is the resource to create the ECS cluster. You can see here, the resource type is ECS cluster and the reference name I gave it. Then we are going to give it a name, which is the same naming convention we have been using, dev nest cluster. Then for the cluster setting, container insight is disabled here, but if you want to enable it, you can enable it. But for now, let's just disable it. But I just put that option there because in the future, if you want to enable it, that's how you do that. And the tag, the same as the name. So once you've create the cluster, the next resource here, this is creating the CloudWatch log group, right? This is where all the logs for your ECS service will be sent. Like when you are troubleshooting things and different things that's going on with your ECS service, the logs will send to this log group in CloudWatch. So it will create a log group in CloudWatch, and I'll show you guys where to find it once we deploy everything. If I forget, please remind me. And this is where all of it will go. So this is the name we are giving the log group. And for the life cycle, so life cycle is something that you can add. It's just like a dependent. It just means that if we are updating our infrastructure, create a new log group before you destroy the current one. So that's what this is doing. It's just a life cycle. It's like dependent. Then we're giving it a tag name. That's that one. Then here, this is where we create the tax definition, the ECS tax definition. So you can see the resource type is tax definition, ECS, AWS ECS tax definition, then the reference name I gave it. The first argument is family. Family is just the name of the tax definition. So we are calling it dev nest tax definition, TD for tax definition. Then the next argument is the tax execution rule ARN. This is the tax execution rule you want to attach to the tax definition. Remember, we created our tax definition in the IAM ECS rule. That's where we created our tax definition. But when you are entering a value here, you guys remember that you know that this tax execution rule is pointing to another module. So for now, you are just going to put a placeholder here, and the placeholder will be a variable, right? So that is why I'm just going to open the variable here and move it to the side here. That is why you create a variable as a placeholder. So that is the variable we've created here. And the next thing I told you guys to do, which helps you follow all your Terraform module code, is anytime you are creating a placeholder for something that will be pointing to another module's output, I told you to name the variable the same name as the output you'll be pointing it to later on, right? So since in our ECS role, the output is tax execution role ARN, that will be pointing to, and also here we'll be pointing to the ECS tax role ARN. That's why we have named our variable the same thing. So that way later on, when your project is calling it, it just makes it easier to see what you are doing. So that's what I said. So that is why here, for the tax execution role ARN, we are going to create the variable for the placeholder, and it will be var tax execution role ARN. And for the tax role ARN, it will be the same thing. It will be var dot tax role ARN. So we'll copy the variable name. For the network mode, it will be AWS VPC. These are like the default you see in the management console when you are creating the tax definition. Requires compatibilities, right? This will be Fargate. We are using ECS Fargate. ECS Fargate means that you guys know that for like containers, right? Container needs like an underlying hardware to run on. So the container itself is not like an EC2. It's like something inside of an EC2. So the container, you can just launch a container by itself. It needs like an underlying hardware to run on, right? So when you are launching a container in AWS, you can either launch an EC2, and now you will now go and configure your container on that EC2. So now you will be managing two things. You'll be managing EC2 instance, then you will now you also be managing the containers. But best thing about AWS service is all this AWS managed service that just makes everything easier. So that's why AWS created Fargate. Fargate means that the EC2 part of it, AWS will manage it for you, and you just focus on launching your container on the EC2. So I'm pretty sure behind the scenes is EC2 they are using, but you don't see it because AWS is managing it. You are only just launching your container when you do your ECS service. So that's what Fargate means. And they also call it serverless, meaning you are not seeing the servers. The underlying server, you are not seeing it. But I'm sure behind the scenes, there's a server there. And for the CPU and memory, we are just going to use this number. These are like the default number I picked from the management console. Then here is the runtime platform. So this is where you remember when you are creating a tax definition, all these options are there, right? Operating system family, it will be Linux. And the CPU architecture, we created a variable for it for now. You can see here, architecture variable, that's what we have here. And later on, I'll show you guys, because sometimes this thing is tricky. Sometimes AWS lets you use the x86 for everything, but sometimes if you build your Docker image on a Mac computer, then you have to use a different architecture. So that's why I created a variable for it here, but we will discuss that when we get to the project. And this part, this is where you create the container, right? Container definition. So all the stuff I'm showing you now, I can show you guys in the management console. So if we go to ECS and we go to tax definition, right? We create a new tax definition. So you can see the family, right? The launch type target. This is the architecture, right? The CPU and memory. It's showing you this, but in Terraform, you will enter it. That's how I have it in Terraform. That's how you enter it, right? The tax row and tax execution row. And here, the container. So that is the section we are now on the container, right? So the container comes as like a JSON document. So here, the first thing is the name of the container. So here we are just calling it dev nest container. Then for the image, which is the image of the container, we created a variable for it that we are going to just add our container. We don't want to hard code it, so we just create a variable for it. So that's why we have our container image here. And is this an essential container? True, yes. Because the first one you create, we always make it essential. I think AWS requires you to have one essential one. So here we have true. The port mapping is 80. So everything you are seeing here is the same thing. You'll see when you are creating the container here. You can see port 80, essential container. You can see it here. So always goes back to what I'm saying is like anytime you are creating any resource with Terraform, literally you are not doing anything new. You are just looking for whatever you see in the console that you picked, just go and look for those things in Terraform. How does Terraform define those things? And just look for them. So that's what you are saying here. So once we specify the port, and this is the log configuration, right? This is equivalent to, it's not really here, but it's somewhere right here. So it's still part of the container. It's still part of the container. You see the container definition is here. All of this is still part of it. And you can see the log part is here. So, and that's what you are seeing here. So for the log part, the log driver will be AWS logs. This has to be the same. You can't change it. Then where the container will be sending the log to, right? It will be the log group we created up here. This log group. That's what the container will be sending the log to. And that is referenced by the name of the log group. And the region, it is going to be in the same region as our project. So for now, we created a variable for it. And a tag name. We gave the container a tag name. So one thing I also want you to know is like the name here, the tag name, just always make sure it matches whatever name. It should match the family as well. So that is that part for the container, the tax definition. So once you create the tax definition here, this is where you create the tax. And I had to add some stuff here. So this is where you create the tax. Here, from here down. All right. The first part is you can see it is AWS, ECS, service, and the reference name I gave it. So when I say create the tags, in the ECS console, if you create one tags, the problem with that tags is that tags will only exist there. And let's say something happens to that tags. Remember, a tags is a container. A tags will create one container. And if something happens to that tags you create, it will go away. It's just like, for example, it's not the same as, remember I say a container is not an EC2, but the concept I'm trying to make it describe is, it's just like you creating an EC2 by itself versus you creating an EC2 in auto-scaling group. If you manually create an EC2 by itself, right? If something happens to that EC2, it goes away. But if you create an EC2 in an auto-scaling group will always relaunch new ones for you if that one goes away. The service is the same way. Instead of you creating a task by itself, you go and create a service, and the service will create the task for you. And in the service, you can specify the desired amount of tasks you want to create. So the service will always make sure that you have that amount of tasks running. So just think of the tasks as your containers. So here, that's why we are creating the service instead of using tags. The name will be just the same naming convention we've been using. Dev nest service. Then the tax definition. So it's the tax definition we created up here. And we are referencing it by the ID. No, I skipped one, sorry. Yeah, the tax definition is here. Let me just do that one first. The tax definition is here. And we are referencing it by the ARN, right? So that's what we just created up here. And then the second one is the cluster, right? The cluster is the first one we create. AWS ECS cluster, ECS cluster. That is what you see here. And we are referencing it by the ID. The launch type is going to be Fargate. Platform version is going to be latest. And this is where the desired count is. So the desired count, I just have one here. But I think later on, you guys should change this to a variable. So I'm not going to do it now. I'll change mine later on, but you guys should change this to a variable. So that way, on the fly, if you need to change the desired size to 2, 3, 4, 5, especially if you are referencing this code for like work, you can just change this to variable. So that way in the variable, you can change the number anytime you want. So for now, the desired count is 1, meaning that it will just launch one container. Deployment minimum health percent. Here, we'll just leave it at 100, 200 for deployment maximum percent. These are the default values that are in the management console. So enable ECS manage tags. So this will allow your ECS to manage the tag. Say we put true, and what will propagate the tag is the ECS service. These are just default things from the management console. So here, when I was deploying this, I ran into an issue. So, and I'm showing you guys this now, but then when we do the project part, I will also explain some more. So the thing with the Terraform module is, let me just go into the module and I'll show you guys what I mean. And maybe I'll use that opportunity to explain. Okay, that's done creating. I'm going to close this. The thing about Terraform module is, Terraform in general is, you see how we've created a module here, we create a module here, we create a module here. Terraform does not create this. When Terraform is deploying this module, it will not deploy it in the order it will not deploy it in the order you wrote them here. It would deploy them based on the dependencies. So if one module is referencing another module, it would, like for example, this NAT gateway is referencing VPC module, right? So it knows that it will create the VPC first before it creates the NAT gateway. But in the case of our ECS service, Here we have the EC2 instance migrate server. This is the server that will migrate our EC2. Then when we create our ECS service here, those two are not referencing each other. So you know what Terraform is going to do? Terraform is going to create them side by side. And what happens when you create it side by side is your container would not have all the necessary credentials, things to, the connection will be messed up because we need our data to be migrated into the RDS database first before our container comes up. So if Terraform is creating them side by side, and Terraform creates the EC2 and the ECS container, the container will come up first. And guess what? When it's trying to access your RDS for your data, the data will not be there yet because the EC2 module is not done migrating it. So when we create our ECS module here, we have to add a depend on. We will add a depend on in it. When we create it later on, you'll see we add a depend on, meaning that module would depend on this data migrate EC2 module. So that will give this EC2 module time to create it. So that's where I got the idea of what is in here from. So when that module is depending on the ECS module is depending on the migrate module. Another thing the ECS can run into is I noticed that in Terraform, once Terraform creates your infrastructure, it will just say, I'm done. It will tell you that your infrastructure is complete. But the service can still be deploying, like the ECS service will still be spinning up. But Terraform, once the infrastructure is done, Terraform will say, I'm done. So if you try to access your site will not be available yet because the ECS service is still coming up. So that's why I add this here. So this will wait for the state of your ECS service to be steady, to be complete, pretty much. And that's why I add this value here, true. And the problem with this is that, let's say Terraform is deploying your infrastructure and is waiting for your ECS service state to be true. Let's say there's an issue with your ECS service where when you are configuring it, you miss something and your service keeps respinning up. You know how when it tries to create your service and is not deploying, it will delete that one. It will try to create a new one again. And it keeps doing that. Then that can put, if you have this as true, because the state will never be steady because there's something you need to address in your deployment. This will just put Terraform in a loop where it's just waiting for you. So we don't want that to happen in case if something is failing. That's why we have this. So this deployment circuit breaker, that would, if it notices that something is failing 2-3 times back to back, it will just stop everything. And you will not get the Terraform output that your ECS did not deploy. Unless everything keeps spinning, this next one is the timeout. And this will just time out after 10 minutes of your ECS trying to create and it's not creating. So these are just some random things. When I was troubleshooting, that's when some things I need to work out. That's why I created this.
And what will you call this part? Dependencies in the Git process once it's trying to when it's trying to you're trying to commit. Are these called dependencies?
When you are trying to commit, like you mean?
The scenario you just explained right now as
Oh yeah, you mean like what would it be called, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay.
Yes, it would just be called it's just a block of its own. It's not like the depend on that I was mentioning.
Okay.
It's just a block on its own. And I think this timeout, so in Terraform, there are some arguments that comes with the resource itself, right? And I'm pretty sure I haven't tried it. I'm pretty sure this type of the timeout stuff, there's one for EC2 too that we can add to the EC2. So these are just additional things you can add to in this case, for example, the ECS service, one, we are making sure that the state of the service we are deploying is healthy before Terraform tells us the infrastructure is complete. And two, in case if we have something that's failing, we want to stop. Yeah, so these are, I'm pretty sure in the Terraform, and we can look. If it's not in the Terraform documentation, if it's not in the documentation, then it will be somewhere. It's somewhere in the documentation, but I'm not necessarily sure if it's in the ECS documentation. So I'll go to that documentation here. All right, so these are all the arguments. So let me just find one of those arguments. All right. Let me try this. Just going to copy that. Control F, Control V. And you can see it's there. It is an argument. You see, it's part of the Terraform documentation. Right. Yeah. So most of the things you will see there, if Terraform don't support it, you won't be able to create it. So if you put anything in Terraform, it will be in their documentation somewhere. In this case, it is part of the ECS service.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is an argument. So you can see it's showing up under the argument reference. It's an argument. All right. Yeah. So that's this block. And on the next block, this is where we set up the network part of it. Right. This is where we specify the subnets we want to launch our container in, the security group. So the first is the subnet. Remember, the subnet will be the private app subnet. And the private app subnet will be in the VPC. So here we are just going to create a variable as a placeholder that is pointing to the subnet we will point to later on. So that will be the private app subnet EZ1 ID. So we can copy this variable. And here we are going to type var dot private app subnet EZ1 ID, comma, space, private app subnet EZ2 ID. We'll copy this and paste it here. I need my var. So, comma, var dot private app subnet EZ2 ID here. So you can remove this extra space there. I don't think it will hurt anything. So it should look like this. Then the next one is the security group. So remember, the security group is in this security group we will point to is in the security groups module. So here we are just creating a variable as a placeholder that is pointing to the output in the security group module. So the output we'll be pointing to later on is the app server security group ID. So we just give it the same name as the variable. And here. And that's all we need to do here. Then next, we need to, once we've done the network, this part is where we set up, we connect our ECS service to the application load balancer. So when it's launching the containers, it would use the application load balancer will route traffic to the containers, right? So here, the target group ARN, we are going to create a placeholder for it because remember, the load balancer target group ARN, we're going to be pointing to the load balancer here, and we are going to be pointing to this output in the load balancer. But please remember when I'm saying pointing to it, that is done on the project side. On the module side here, we are just creating a variable for it. The variable you create here as a placeholder, you can call it anything you want. But so that you can make all the connections later on, I'm saying that it is always, and that's what I've seen everyone do, it is always easy to name your variable the same output you'll be pointing it to later on. So here, I'm going to be pointing it to the ALB target group ARN. So I'm going to copy this here. And that's what I'm going to paste here. And for the container name, this name must match the same name you gave your container up here. You can see your container name. The name must match your container. Then finally, we have the tags here, and we are done. Right, we are done with the ECS service. Then the next is the output. So here we are exporting the ECS service itself. So the ECS service we created in the main.tf file, which is here. So we can copy this. And on the output, we can paste it here. And remove this and add a period. And that's all we need to do there. So let's save our file. Save. I'm going to save all. Then I'll push it. Created ECS service. And commit, yes, and sync changes to push it. So we've created the module. Now we can create the project that we'll call it. So on the project side, here, we'll just type create ECS. Then module, create your module block. You give the module a name, we'll call it ECS. Then source, you add your source here. And your source is going to point to any of this one. So you can copy this for now and paste it here. Remember the module name, we call the module. Oh, remember the module name? We call the module. I'm trying to dock it side by side here. Remember the module name, we called it ECS. So here in our source here, we're just going to change this to ECS. And once you change the source, I'll show you guys later on. Once you change it here, we are just going to add all the variables here. So that's why I did it this way, so I can call the variable, copy the variable. So in the ECS, you are pointing to, module you are pointing to, any variable that is there, you must list the name of all the variables here. So the first one is environment. Copy, paste it here. The second one is project name. The third one is ECS tax execution rule ARN. Copy it, paste it here. The next one is the ECS tax row ARN. Copy, paste it here. Architecture. Container image. Uh-oh. region, private app subnet is the one ID. So I'll just copy that twice, but I'll just modify it by changing this one to 2. Security group ID, app server security group ID. And ALB target group area. So once you're done with that, let me just minimize this and yeah. Then once we enter it, then we just need to enter the value. So the first one is the environment and project name. But those two, remember those two are created in the VPC. So I'm just going to copy where I've referenced it here and use that there. The next one is the ECS task execution row ARN. So that will be equals to, that is in the ECS row, right? So here will be module dot the name of the module we want to reference, which is this ECS row, dot the output in that module we want to reference. The output is the same name. We named it the same name. So that's why, this is one of the reasons why I say name it the same name. So as long as you know you named it the same name, you can copy it from here. But you guys know, from me copying it from here, it means that I'm pointing to an output in this module that has the same name. So that's why I say if you name the variable the same name, you can now know that the output you are pointing to is the same name. All right, we'll do the same thing for this task execution row. So it will be module dot ECS row dot task execution row area. Right. The next one is going to be architecture. Right. Remember that architecture. Let me just go in the management console so I can show you. Right. In that architecture here, this is where that value comes from, right? So you can see here is Linux. So if you build your image, your Docker image on a Windows computer, use this x86 64. But if you build your Docker image on a Mac computer, then enter the ARM64. Just in case if you guys get the error, and let me see if I still have the picture for that error. Let me see if I still have it somewhere. I'm not sure if I save it. I didn't save it, but I showed you guys when we did the ECS project. So if you guys get some error after you deployed it, and I can show you guys, I can find it and I'll send it to you guys. Some error after you deployed it, I forgot what that, and I saw it yesterday. I don't want to digress, but I'll show you guys later on. But basically, the rule is if you build your Docker image on a Windows computer, use this x86 64. And if it's Mac, use the ARM. And if that don't work, then you can switch it. But for Windows users, it will always be this x86. The issue is with the Mac users, because sometimes AWS will take this x86 for Mac, but sometimes it will require you to do this. So I'm not sure if they are enforcing that now. The last time I did it on my Mac, they wanted me to use this ARM. So I guess it probably depends on the type of Mac you are using, because Mac has different chips in it. Okay, so that's what we get there. So here for the architecture, we are going to enter, I'm going to enter x86 underscore 64. That's all you have to enter there. Then the next one is the container image. So that will be the image, your Docker image. So again, we'll go to management console. Here you can click ECR, and here click repositories, go to your repository and click the latest image push. The URI is here. Click this box to copy it, and that is what you enter here. The next one is region, right? The region was defined in the VPC module. So we'll just do module dot VPC dot region. So the next one is the private app subnet AZ1 ID and private app subnet AZ2 ID. So those are in the VPC module. So I'm just going to copy this here, just up to the VPC part. Then I'm going to do a type of private app subnet AZ1 ID. Just to be real, I like doing the copy paste because that way I know I'm not accidentally typing nothing wrong there. So I'm going to copy that and paste it here. And for the second one, it will be the same one, same thing too. So I'm just going to do this, copy this, and paste it here. Then remove the one, add two. Then the next one is the security group ID. So the app server security group ID, it will be module dot the name of the module. We call the security groups, security groups dot the name of the output in the security group module, which is this same name. Copy this, paste it here. And then the last one is the application load balancer target group ARN. So that will be in the ALB module. So that will be module dot ALB dot module dot ALB, right? Because that's the name of the module here. Where is it at? No, see, I'm already doing something wrong. So the name will be, the name of the module is application load balancer. We actually spelled it out. So whatever it is, that's what you do here. You spell it out. So I didn't call it ALB. I actually called it application load balancer dot the ARN, the output in it that we want to reference, which is this ALB target group ARN. So that is it for this module. We are pretty much done. Oh, the last thing we need to do is here. Don't forget your dependent. So this module, you need to just add a dependent here. So this module depends on the module dot data migrate EC2 which is this one. So whatever the module name is, data migrate EC2, right? It's the same name I put here. See, it's the same name. So this just means that it will migrate my data first before it creates this ECS service one. And let's save our file. So even before we do that, we can just probably, there's only one left. So let's just create everything. Oh, sorry, I was reading someone's comment. Hello, Mr. Tolani. I'm glad to have you here. Thank you. Is this your first time joining? So, anyway, let's just create the Route 53 because that's the last one we have. Then when we apply it, we can see if we can access our site. So when we are done and we run our apply, we should be able to access our website. Okay. So we'll go back to the module again. So, but for now, does anyone have any question on the ECS one? Okay, cool. So let's do the last one, which is the Route 53. And that's pretty much it for this project and for today. The Route 53 one is here. Select it, then take your Route 53, drag and drop it here. Click copy folder. And here, you should have a main.tf output and variable. In the main.tf, right, we have the data source that is getting the information of our Route 53 hosted zone. And here we just have a variable for it, for the domain name, right? The variable is a placeholder because remember, we specify this domain name in the ACM module. So this is a placeholder that is pointing to an output in the ACM module. Okay, once I'm done, once we are done, you can ask any question you want. Once I'm done. Because if you type it now, I'm not really looking at the comments. So it may take me a while, or you can type it now. Once I'm done, I'll respond to it. So yes, this variable is a placeholder that later on we will point to an output in the ACM. So if you can see in the ACM, we have output here that is outputting the domain name. So we'll point to this output later on, which is why in here we are creating a variable as a placeholder. Then once we pull the information of our hosted zone, we want to create an A record in it, right? So for the A record, it's pretty much straightforward. The zone we want to create the A record in, right, which is this zone here. That's what we referenced here by the ID. Then the domain name is the same as not the domain name, then the name is the record name. Record name is the www where we put www, or you can put anything you want. You can say projects dot your domain name, your name dot your domain name. So that's the record name. So we just create a variable for that. The type of record we'll create is a record, right? And you guys know once we create our A record, we have to attach it to an application load balancer. So this is how we attach it to an application load balancer. So the first thing is the name, right? The name is going to point to the application load balancer's DNS name. So in our application load balancer here, output, we are exporting the application load balancer DNS name and the application load balancer zone ID. That's the value that this is requiring. So here we are just creating a variable placeholder, but we are naming it the same name as the output we want to point to. So that's where this came from. Or just to show you here, you can just copy it from here. So you are sure you have the same name, copy it and paste it here. And we'll do the same thing for the zone ID. We just create a placeholder for now, variable placeholder, which will point to the application load balancer zone ID. Copy this, I'll paste it here. And evaluate target health, we are going to put true. Yeah, because we want it to evaluate our target health. And when we do that in the management console, when we create it in the management console, it's always on by default. So this is how we create the Route 53 main. Then on the output, we want to export the record name, right? The record name we are creating here, we want to output it. So to output it, it will just be the same because it is the record name is a variable. So we want to export the output of that variable. So here, we're just going to say the record name will be whatever value we end up putting for that variable record name. And that's the output. So we can save it, save all, and we would push this, create that route record. I'm going to say route 53. Route 53. So I'm going to commit. I'm going to sync to push. So once we push it, let's just work on our project part of it that's going to call it. So, and here we can first start with a node, create a record set in Route 53. So once you enter that, we are going to start with module. Then the name of the module, let's call it Route 53. Then we are going to enter the source. And the source is just going to point to, it will be the same thing here, right? The address will be the same address, but then we'll just modify. And here, the name of the module is, oh my God, what did I do? My mouse just clicked on something. Oh, okay, never mind. So the name of the module is Route 53. You can see here. So I just to be sure, going to rename why am I just clicking things all over the place? I'm just going to rename just to copy. And I'm going to go to my project and replace this with that. Then in whatever module you are pointing to, remember, you go to that module, you go back to that module, right? And if the module has a variable, if it has a variables file, click it, open it, right? Then whatever variables you see there, that's what you have to put here. So here we see domain name. I'm going to enter domain name here. We see record name. I'm going to enter record name here. We see application load balancer DNS name. That's what we will enter here. And we see application load balancer zone ID. That's what we enter here. So we just need to enter the value. This will be equals to domain name. The domain name was done in the SSL module. So let me just make this bigger. We can see we're done with that part. In the SSL module here, this is where we specify the domain name. You can see it here. So we are going to reference it from this module by, we'll just copy that module name. So this will be module dot SSL. Oh, I only copied one S. SSL certificate module dot the name we want to reference, which is domain name. So copy this and paste it here. Record name. This is a new variable. So we'll just type www for that part. And for the application load balancer DNS name, that is in the application load balancer module. So it will be module dot the name of the module called the application load balancer. So copy the module name here. Dot. Before I paste it, I'm just going to copy this and put it down here because they will be the same. It's just the what we are pointing to is different. So paste this here. So this will be pointing to the application load balancer DNS name. And this will be pointing to application load balancer zone ID. And that's pretty much it. We are done. Then the one last thing we can do is one last thing I want to show you guys. We did this in the Terraform module, right? You guys can, so if you go to your Terraform modules project, TFVAS, isn't the TFVAS? Where do we? Oh no, we should have a file in there that says outputs. Do we? Did I show you guys how? Yeah, we do. Yeah, outputs, right? So let's just construct the URL because I always like doing that. So you can copy this from here, but we'll change it. Well, maybe we won't have to change it. Yeah, we'll change it. We'll have to modify. So copy this from here and let me just paste it. I'll paste it here for you guys, just in case if you guys don't have it. So it's right here. And I'll paste it in the comments. Yeah. All right. So once you copy it from there, in our main, we can just paste it down here. But remember here, our record name is in the Route 53 module. So here we need to reference it by the module, not the var. So we just do module dot Route 53 dot record name. Because remember in the Route 53 module, we are outputting the record name. So we can do the same thing here. Our domain name is in the SSL module. So instead of referencing var, we'll just do module dot SSL certificate. No, that just removed everything. I'll just copy it myself. So here, module.ssl certificate. This is where we specify our domain name. So we just paste it here. So that's that. So let me explain what this is doing again. So we're creating an output, meaning that when I type Terraform apply, it will show me my URL. And once I apply, I can click on that link to just open it. It's just a cool thing to do. Is you don't have to do this part, right? But it's something I just want you guys to see that is also possible. So what this means is that it is going to join. So this join is starting with an empty string. And in this empty string, it is going to take the first value you placed here. So anything in a quote is one value. So it's going to take HTTPS : // is going to put it in that quote. Then it's going to take the next thing after the comma, which is this record name, which will be www add it to it. So now it's forming your URL. Then it's going to now take the period, which is the next one, add it to it. Then it's going to take the next one, which is your domain name, and add it to it. And that's how it forms your full URL. So let's save our file. I'm going to click File, Save All. Then I'm going to open the integrated terminal. And I'm going to type Terraform init. Let me just format it first. I'm just going to do Terraform FMT. Okay. Format my document. Then I'm going to type Terraform init upgrade. I'm going to now type Terraform apply. So it's going to create 5 resources, and you can see all of them here. We'll type yes, press enter. So it's creating the ECS CloudWatch log groups, the ECS, then it'll create the Route 53. And once everything is done, we should be able to access our site. So one thing I forgot to show you guys is when I run that Terraform apply, before I type yes, you can see my URL that it created here. So it's this output that created that URL here. And you can see it is a link that is clickable. And once it is done applying, it will show you again. So Grace, it is cloud computing. So it is cloud computing. So cloud computing, AWS or DevOps. It's pretty much IT. All right, I'm just waiting for that to finish, and we will see if we can access our website. I'm so glad I finally get to show you guys how to deploy it this way, because for the longest time we used to use the and even my project, which I am updating now, for the longest time we used to use the snapshots from the RDS from the previous project. And I just always get a lot of people, either someone would delete the snapshot after they complete the project, or someone just didn't even work on the project. And there's always like that roadblock of not finishing the assignment because of, or you have to go back and complete that assignment. So I'm glad this is like 100% deployed in Terraform. So there's nothing you need from a previous project. So that is done. I'm going to see if I can access my site. I'm going to follow link here and click open. Well, it is opening on this page. Let me just drag it here. So just to show you again, I'm going to here, follow link, open. Why is it showing up? It's pretty much showing up on my, I guess I have like Chrome open on my second screen, and it is my, I guess it's showing that as my main screen. That's why it's open here, because that's how I'm looking at the YouTube comments. So I can show you guys here if I put it here. All right, I'm going to go back there again. Just select this, follow link, open. You can see the site is fully deployed. And I think Yemi had an issue. So Yemi, I'm not sure if you're here or if you're watching this video later on. So the issue you had with the when your Terraform was completing before your script is Terraform is showing you a complete state before your script is executed, and you have to wait for your site to be available. You can do the same thing I did in that ECS service. Just look it up. You can use either Claude or ChatGPT to look it up. Just look it up. How to wait for your, how to check that your server is actually, or maybe you can check that your application load balancer, something. So with the ECS, it does has like an argument to do that, but I'm not sure if EC2 does, but I'm pretty sure you can look something like that up. But when I work on
Okay.
the project that I'm recording, I would do the research and I'll add it to it. But I think you can do something similar that we did for the ECS here.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, that's it. We've deployed this project in Terraform module and on ECS. So that's the end of this project. We are done. Boy, I'm so glad. It
Thank
took
you.
took
I think you
forever.
mentioned about something about the logs. Oh, you wanted to show
Yeah,
us the log.
yes, exactly. Thank you.
All right.
So the logs, so all the stuff we deployed, if you guys go to the management console, you will see everything here. This is the management console. So the logs would be in CloudWatch. CloudWatch. So here, if you click on logs and logs management, so you can see the different log groups I have. The one for this project is the ECS dev nest one, this one here. If you select it, right, you can see one log is here, log stream. If you click on it, right, there's no, because I don't have anything is failing or nothing yet. So there's no log in there yet. So that is it. But let's say things starts failing or stuff like that. If it is something that does report, ECS is supposed to report, it will show up here. And this log stream thing you guys are seeing here, it would be, I think it's by per deployment. So let's say the deployment I did now, let's say that didn't work, then the logs will show up in this. Then the new one that spins up, it will be another log stream. And if you go in there, because it's not just going to be one you'll see, you'll continue to see as your deployment, you keep deploying, you'll see more. So that's the logs there. And that's pretty much it. And we are done. Do you guys have any questions? Questions, comments? Did you learn something you feel behind? But I like this one, the way we did it in this one, because now you guys don't have any hindrance, anything that is preventing you from fully deploying this with Terraform, your project with Terraform, and it is also ECS. So you have the EC2 and ECS one. Maybe the Kubernetes one, I'll probably just record the video. Once it's ready, I'll send it. I'll let you guys know. But I don't think we have enough time. It's not really necessary at this point. And I still want to cover the CI/CD, Lambda, and Ansible. And then we should be done. All right. You guys have any questions?
Yeah, I do.
Right, go ahead.
If there was a fail in your resource deployment, is it through this log you can use to troubleshoot the failure? Is that one of the ways? Like how you just explained that if it failed, it would show you through the log stream that.
Yes, this is only, the log stream is only pertaining to your ECS deployment and your container and all that stuff, right? But it's not part of your infrastructure.
Structure. Okay.
Yeah, so it's only going to show you logs relating to your service, your ECS service.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. if we wanted to use this ECS to attach it to a container management service like EKS, how would that to to make sure the ECS, like I think you touched on it, you hinted on it earlier, to make sure it has more availability, or the container can be deployed with auto scaling group.
Yeah, it is already done with auto scaling group. You can see that if you go into the ECS service here. So in the Terraform code, you just change the desired capacity, right? You change the desired capacity. So here, if you go into your cluster and you select your service,
Yeah.
right? Here, I think if you go down here, where do you find it? No, if you come to tax,
Okay.
right? It's somewhere here. Let me just, I think it's here. Let me see. Uh, that's the thing with this ECS. AWS is always moving things around. So my service tax running, but I want to see. So logs too, you can see any logs you see here should probably show up in the log groups as well. Deployment, event, configuration and networking. So this has to do with like your VPC configuration are all here. Auto scaling is probably here. Well, I didn't tax count. I probably didn't set up. So it's like just a second. It's somewhere here. I just need to find it. You can see the tax is here, is actually here, right? This is here. You can see desired is 1. It's actually showing up here. I know why I thought it would be down there, right? So if you want to edit your tax, you can just update your tax here. I mean, your service.
Yeah.
If you update your service here, right? Your desired size is here, you can change it. You can change it to 2, 3, 4, 5, anything you want to change it to, right?
And that's
Then,
for the okay, go ahead. Sorry.
then once you are done updating it, you click force deployment. So that will just force a new deployment and everything should be updated. And you will see the number of desired tags you want. So, and that would pretty much on that tags here, you guys are seeing that tags is just one container.
Yes.
Right? So if you now do multiple tags, you will see all of them here. Yeah. So that's how that is. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Ismail. Yeah, it took me a while to I was thinking the desired thing would be somewhere. Yeah, but thank you. Yeah. So Talani says how much of the configuration is baked into the AMI versus pulled at runtime? It just depends. It just depends on what you are trying to achieve, right? But I would say it depends. So he's asking how much stuff do you are you from if I understand your questions correctly, you're asking how much stuff do you um configure in your AMI versus things you have to do during runtime. I'll say it depends, right? In the case of like the application we were deploying in project 2, where we have to do all that work to download the application code from S3 and all that stuff, that part can be done with your baked into your AMI. Like that part, you don't have to do that part at runtime. So I would say generally the installation of the dependencies that your server needs, like let's say for whatever application, you are trying to deploy and you know that application is going to need PHP, Apache, and all those things, even if you don't want to do installation of your server into your AMI you can say, okay, for security reasons, I don't want to bake my application code, or it just depends, right? You can do it this way. You can install just the dependencies, meaning that you can install just the Apache, PHP, and all that stuff, right? In just the AMI. Or if you want to take it a step further, you can configure your application code in the HTML directory in your AMI, but leave the env file blank. That way you say, okay, for my env file, I don't want to configure my credentials in it. And during runtime, you can now run the script or whatever you are using to now update your env file during runtime. It just depends. So that freedom, you totally have the freedom to do whatever you want to do in that aspect. Maybe companies have a ways they test it. I'm sure that there's like bigger companies, not even bigger companies have different ways they test if an availability zone should go down. But in your case, because we are designing multiple availability zones, right? If you want to test if an availability zone is going down, and if your application is still fault tolerant, you have to isolate your availability zone. So you see, and what I mean by that is in our reference architecture, let me show you. In our reference architecture, so this is our reference architecture, right? We have two availability zones. Where's this zone thing? We have two availability zones here, one here and the second one here. And what makes these availability zones separate is the fact that we have a NAT gateway here, a NAT gateway here that is routing traffic. Although we didn't configure it for because of price, because I don't want you guys to have multiple availability zones, multiple NAT gateways running. So we are only using one NAT gateway in our project, but in a production environment, you have two NAT gateways. So if you want to test it now, you are only using one NAT gateway in our project now. That is why if we go and delete the one NAT gateway we are using in our project, you see your application will not be functional anymore. But let's say you configured your infrastructure to have two NAT gateways in each availability zone, one in each availability zone. If you terminate one of the NAT gateway, your application will still be accessible. So that is how you can test the availability zone from where we are now. There may be other tools companies use to test it, but that's not really like something that we would get into. But if you want to just test it, you can use the NAT gateway to test it. Because if one of these NAT gateway goes down, then that availability zone will not be functioning. You need a domain name. Okay, send me your, okay, let me just even do that research now. I think I need your account ID. I think that's all I need, but let me just ask Claude real quick. Claude. I'm going to show you guys. I'm telling guys, man, you guys should always use Claude for stuff. Claude is, in my opinion, actually much better than ChatGPT. ChatGPT, I use ChatGPT too. I have the paid version for both of them. I want to, let me just ask this question. Trans. Domain name in Route 53 to another AWS. I think all I need is your account ID. Another AWS account. Okay. Initiate account. Um, as initiate account. Let me just say it now. Just a second. Going to oops, English. Mm, 53. Okay, I have a domain name. Select this one. All right, let me pause because I'm not sure if this is going to expose my 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 information. So let me just check something real quick. Um, That's record, configure record. I know I saw it that day, just because I never did it after that, I forget how to do it now. Yeah. Okay, so Route 53 console. Okay, I go to register domains. And I'll select the one. Yeah, it's gonna expose my information. Thank God all right. Transfer to another AWS account. Okay. All right, Tolani, what's your account ID? That's all I need, your account ID. All right. So Tolani, are you learning DevOps or is that a different account? Is it someone else too? So to go in, your account ID is here. Um, let me share my screen and I'll show you. All you have to do is go into your AWS account and click your name up here. You see your account ID here. Copy it from there. Okay. Yeah, just copy it from here and send it to me. That's all I need. Oh, am I sharing my screen? I'm not sharing my screen, right? You guys can see what I was showing. So what I was showing you is like if you go in your AWS account here, up here, you see our account ID here. You can click this box to copy it. If anyone needs like a domain name, just let me know. I still have like 7 of them. I'll send your account ID to me and I'll forward it to you. All right. In the meantime, does anyone else have any question? You're fine. Take your time. Does anyone else have any question? All right. John, thank you. Thank you. And I am updating my website now. I'm updating my website, updating all the course. So all the course will have all the latest things we've covered so far, from the beginning all the way to the Terraform. So it's going to be much better. So that's what I'm working on now. It's a lot of work, but I figure I need to do it. You're welcome, Juliet. You're welcome. So next week we would work on we will work on we'll start the CI/CD one with GitHub Actions. I don't think it should take us more than next week to finish because it's really not, maybe unless if there's like a lot of questions or and people have questions, then it might take longer. But um yeah, I'm anticipating it shouldn't take longer than next week. Thank you, Juliet. I appreciate it. Yes, guys, please help me like the videos. Thank you, Juliet. Thank you. So, let me show you guys what Claude did. So I'm redesigning my website, and this website took me forever to when I was designing my website. You guys know what my website looks like now. So I did this website myself. I'm not a web designer, but Kajabi had some type of limitations, right? With like how you can, because everything is like drag and drop. So this site, probably this little page that I did took me Lord knows how long to do. This was like a couple of years ago. Ismail, you're welcome. This was a couple of years ago. It took me so long to do. And I still don't think it don't look the way I want it to look. So now that I'm redoing everything on my site, and I just told Claude exactly, all I did is I wrote down what I wanted to, what information I want on my site. Then I now told Claude and I said, this is what I want. Can you help me pretty much put my words together in a way that I'm trying to communicate it to my potential students? So Claude did that, which was good. I'll show you guys something. Let me just log into my site. I'll show you guys something. I think it's just very cool. My website landing page. So Claude did that, right? And I said, okay, now show me, and then I said, show me how this, what you show me how this word will look on my site. So pretty much design the site for me so I can like visualize it. And this is what Claude ended up coming up with. A website that may have been working on that it took me months and I still couldn't even get it right.
Remember, you paused your screen, so we're not seeing what
Oh,
you're
you're not saying, oh, I'm sorry. Right.
Thank you.
So once I once it pretty much put all the words for me. So I said, okay, now show me what it would look like on my site. So this is what Claude came up with. This document, Claude created this document for me, showing me like every single section, how the section will look, right? So this is each section. Down to the font, the color, the spacing, everything, right? This is pretty much showing me how everything will look. Then when he did it, and I now said, okay, when I went on Kajabi and I was trying to now implement everything myself, I was just asking questions. And did you know this thing walked me step by step and how to do it? And this is how like my new site page will look now. I'm just waiting for the guy that's making the image for me to do it. Like literally, it designed the document for me here, and it showed me exactly how to do it. And look at my new site, the new homepage for my site. Claude did this, and mind you, this took me less than, I'll say, from all the stuff that I did, it took me maybe less than, it's just me even doing the copy pasting thing. I'll say for Claude to come up with everything, it was probably less than 30 minutes. Like even the document and everything is even less than 10 minutes. It was me putting everything together and making sure everything looks good. Maybe it took me like an hour at the most to do. That's what I'm saying. Like, look, AI is not going anywhere. You guys, if anyone is not using AI, you're just going to be behind. So it's really amazing things you can do with it. But I like Claude a lot because one thing about Claude too is if you give Claude something and Claude gives you an answer, Claude can, I don't care if it's like 200 conversations or if you walk away and 3 months later you come back, it is able to follow the same previous answer it gave you. Like what I don't know if they've changed it about in ChatGPT. ChatGPT, if you, especially when I'm doing coding stuff, if you ask ChatGPT something, it gives you an answer and you say, okay, um, are you sure these are all the things you need to fix? I need to fix, and you go fix those things. Then when you now give it the result, it will now have another full list of suggestions again. I was like, but you just told me the previous suggestion is the full suggestion. But Claude is not like that. If Claude gives you something, it is able to keep track of everything. So if it gives me a code and I go back and I say, okay, this code, I need to change this thing here, it is not going to give me a brand new code again. It is just going to change that part of the code that I wanted to change. It is always the same code every single time. Even when I was working on this Terraform module, how I was able to create all the reference file, all the variables file where you guys see all the description and all that, it's Claude that helped me with all that stuff. Because I'll get lost somewhere along the way, but it is able to keep track of everything, even down to my trading. Like it helped me create an indicator that I can use to spot when stocks are forming a support level for like a potential buying. And it tells me where pretty much where the um stock has hit a resistance. I can show you guys. So I'm saying me, I'm advocating for Claude. I think you guys should use Claude. If you are using ChatGPT, you can use both. I use both, but you should use Claude. Let me show you here. My TradingView account. I'll show you something.
How do you write Claude? I don't know.
What did you say?
How do you type it? How do you spell it? Claude.
Claude is
Can you type
C
it in
L
the
A C L A U D. Let me C
Yeah, you're
L
right.
A U D E.
Yeah, you're right.
or just cloud like cloud?
Yeah, Claude is by Claude by Anthropic.
By Anthropic, yeah. Like Claude Van Damme.
Oh, Claude. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like just like ChatGPT, but in my opinion, that is much better.
Much better.
Right. So this is the one that Claude wrote for me, the indicator that I'm using now. Right. You can see I bought this apple on Friday and I can show you guys the time. So the Claude helped me create the indicator and also the indicator has an alert. So I don't have to sit here and look at the stock price. So the stock price is just doing whatever. And so you can learn different things about stock, which is what I did. And when I was having the conversation, I told it to turn it into a code for me that I can use in TradingView, which it did. So I don't really know 100% how the code is working in details, but I know it does it's doing exactly what I want it to do. So here, when stock price is going up, like they are pretty much forming higher highs, higher low. Anytime a stock price gets to a level where there is a support there, the indicator will now draw this zone for me. You see this zone? This zone is meaning, so this zone here, this is the support, this is the resistance. This means that anytime the stock price tries to drop below this zone, you guys can see, anytime it tries to drop below this zone, it always push back up, meaning that people are here buying it. So it will create that zone for me. Then I now said, since I have a bunch of stocks on my watch list, I can monitor all of them. So I now said, help me create an alarm system that would alert me anytime the stock gets to that support zone and it bounce off it. So you can see here on Friday, these are the stocks it alert me on. The one particular one that I end up buying is Apple. So you guys see this alert. I received this alert on you people with military time. When was 12 p.m.? 12 p.m. This was
That's noon.
exactly at 12 p.m. in the
That's
afternoon.
noon. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
noon.
So you guys see here, if I go here, this Zoom thing is always in the way. If I go here, so 10, 11, 12. So you can see 12 here.
That's when you
So at 12 in the afternoon when I bought it, after the alarm kicked off, the price was like right here. It even went down after that here, but it was still staying there. It was right here. And you can see from that 12, when I took that buy, it went as high as here. But I think because it's Friday, like Friday, sometimes stock don't move, especially after a certain time. But I still bought the goal would be that where I would sell it is when it gets to this point. And I would say 80 to 90% of the time it always happens.
wow.
Another one that I took, but I made money on it, but then I sold it too soon is Meta. The zone has probably cleared now, it's probably not there now. But
So if it's more, if it's that precise, then you should be comfortable doing options. Then
yeah, that's what I'm doing. It's options that
okay,
I'm doing. Yeah.
okay.
So this one, the zone has updated now.
You're making a killing to 62.
But this one, the zone was here. When last Monday, the zone was here.
Mm.
And 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 it alert me, was like, okay, this is like a support level. And I saw it and I bought it. And I was able to, I was so impatient because I was making money and on that same day, followed it I followed it from here up to here, and I sold it.
No, it makes sense to sell it because there's a resistance right there on the left now.
Where?
That see that line on the left? That's a resistance right there.
Which line? This one?
On
Which
the
one?
yes, right there on the
Right
left.
here. Well,
Yeah.
you're right. It does make sense, right? Because you see
So
this
what you
rate.
do, you would have sold half of your position on that part
Yeah, that's what I should have done, right? But
and
I
leave
feel like
half
that emotional part,
to break even.
is still. So I just end up I only had two contracts, but the two contracts was like two at this point. Those contract was like three
Expensive.
thousand dollars
Yeah,
each.
they're expensive.
So I end up just selling it, but
Mhm.
then it ended up still continued like
Mhm.
for 3 more days. But then they had their earnings. This big move was their earnings, and he ended up doing this. But I still made money on this one, the earnings, because I have like a 2-year contract for Meta that I still
Wow.
made money on.
Yeah,
Um,
Meta has skyrocketed, and I've made
yeah.
money from Meta last year because that joint is on steroids.
So what this also helps me do is, although I'm not always buying puts, but what this also helps me do is if I want to enter into a stock, if I look at the zone and I see the price is either close to here, I stay away from it because I'm always buying calls. I feel more comfortable. Another one I bought yesterday is Palantir. Even though it didn't alert me, but I'm still seeing the zone is forming here. I
Mm.
think it will hold this zone, but if it doesn't hold it, I kind of want to trade their earnings, but
Don't do
I
that, please.
I ended up buying. So this is my idea. I bought 6 months contract,
Okay.
and so far this zone is holding. So the earnings can go two ways. Either it will make it, or it will drop, right? So 6 months contract, I feel like that is giving me two earnings, two earnings that they
Oh,
have to
yeah.
report.
Two
And
quarters.
if it just goes down, I'll just use the opportunity to average down because I know at some point it will bounce back up to this level and I'll make money that way.
Why I said you should be careful of earnings is because that's where the manipulation comes
Exactly.
in.
Yes, I know. I know. Which is why when I do earnings, I would do 6 months out.
I see.
So
Makes sense.
if it missed that earnings, and I only bought one contract. So let's say now my options drop by 50, 60, 70%. Then I'll just now move that one contract to like 10 contracts. And at that point, I just have to wait. Because I know in 6 months, a good company like you see, I have my watch list. These are like the top ones that I trade. These ones they always move. They never stay down. And if they are on a downward trend, their downward trend is never passing like 2, 3 months before they start moving back up. So, so I know for a fact if it goes down, in 6 months it will be back up to that 150 level where I bought it. But then I will buy it at a discount when it goes down and I'll still make money. You understand? So that's my idea. That's my idea for the earnings. It's just money that I can stomach losing this money for now and making it back up later. But anyway, I didn't want to talk too much about stocks, but I'm saying like my
Of
whole
course.
cloud knowledge and the whole learning AWS and all these things does help me in other aspect of my life. I just showed you guys when I'm trying to design my website, that's is from this cloud knowledge that I was able to do it, right? Then I'm trying to trade stock is from this same cloud knowledge that I'm using. Because I probably won't be using cloud and all that stuff if I wasn't doing cloud. So that's the point I'm trying to make.
So sometimes another strategy I do once I'm doing a day trade is I just screenshot that chart like you have right
Yeah.
there, and
Yeah,
I
you give it
put a
to it.
prompt.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll
Like
tell it what
is it a good entry?
I'll just tell what do you see in the next 1 hour? Is it going up or down? Then it will
Mhm.
give me all the rationality using Bollinger Band, using VWAP.
Mhm.
Then it will say by those indicators, there's a 70% it will go down within the next hour. There's a certain 20% if it stays, this is where it will stagflate.
Mhm.
And it's from my experience, it has been like 95% always correct.
Yeah, good. Yeah, that's also a good way to do it. So if you want to take it a step further,
Mm.
you can now figure out how to pull Google's API or the chat or you see how TradingView has this take a
Snapshot.
snapshot. I'm not sure if TradingView has API. You can literally tell Claude to write a Python code for you that pulls this snapshot of the stocks
Watch list.
on your watch list every so time. Then you now then you now take that snapshot and send it to maybe you're using Gemini or Claude or whatever you're using to analyze it and give you the result. I have something similar where I'm calling API for like interactive broker to get some data on like stock options, but I haven't been using it as much because I feel like there's some things I need to work out of it. But that's how you can do it because you know all this AI now, they actually have Claude now has the capability of installing the agent on your computer and it will do the task for you. Like let's say you have the Python code, it will run it the same way you take the screenshot, it will run it for you and do all that tasks for you. So if you really want to be like advanced with it, that's how you can do it.
Create an
So
automation where it does almost
it
everything for
just does almost everything for you and you just answer, you just come and look at the result.
results. Yeah.
So
Actually, that's why I saw exactly what you just said. That's why I saw the idea. Then I was like, I said, let me think out of the box. Then I saw that I didn't have TradingView account, and the guy told me I have to create a snapshot, and it's only TradingView that grades that snapshot on their paid subscription. So I said,
mhm,
let me think outside of the box. I said, "Hey, my computer has a a screenshot um,
mhm,
appliance. So I just
mhm,
played around. I just said, screenshot this chart for me. It shotted it, saved it on my home drive. I just carried that my picture drive, just carried that picture drive and went to ChatGPT and uploaded it and
mhm.
gave it the prompt. And he did everything. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
have to think outside the box. You're very right.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, guys, so we are done for today. So I'm just talking about stocks now, but we are done for
Sorry,
today.
Aziz, I need to ask you, how do you, so you just take a screenshot and put it in Claude, and then
Yeah.
Claude give you an idea of what the next
Yeah, we'll come back to this one. We are done, so you guys
okay.
don't have to stay. So Juliet, I know it's nighttime for you guys. Mayo, we are done. So next week we will do we'll do CICD. But if you guys are interested in like the whole trading thing, you're more than welcome to stay. But I'm just saying we are done for today.
and you've
Um,
reversed and you've done a reverse to see how accurate like this your buy what this thing what they call it
you're welcome, John. Yeah, like a back
fair
test.
value gaps. That's
Yeah,
what
so
it stops. This
so
one of your resistance.
yeah, so for me, I don't really don't there's this guy that I follow. It actually uses teachings to come up with the code based
Okay.
on my notes that I took from him. So if you look on my thing, I just even have this the 20-day moving average and the VWAP. That's it. Other than
Okay.
that, I don't have anything here. And his strategy is very simple. He doesn't use fair value gap, nothing. So overall, you will see, let me show you this Apple one so I can show you. Overall, right? Overall, when stocks, the first part of it is like you look at the trend of the stock. So a
Yes.
stock can either be on an upward trend on a down or a downward trend, right? And you know a stock is on an upward trend if it is like forming higher highs, higher low, higher highs, higher low. It would all, based on what this guy taught me, it would always do that. There's no, it would always do that. It will always form higher high, higher low, higher high, higher lows. So you want to position yourself when it forms, when you see that trend, then once a stock comes back to make the low, to retest the low, like it's like, for example, now why I took the buy on this Apple. It formed, it formed the higher high here. The zone is here. It's telling me there's a buying zone here, right? This is my own indicator doing that. But he draws the line himself. So he already showed me the indication here, and the price came back to that zone. Then when the price comes back to the zone, the next time the price breaks above that zone again, that's when you take your buy, which is
I'm saying
where
this.
when I
Let
took
me
my buy here, right?
Okay, you see
And
that big, you see that second big triangle from that jump. That second from the higher high. Go back. That second leg.
this one
No, go back from right there. Where you just pointed. Go no.
here,
You see the gap up, the first big gap up. That's market makers making those moves. That's why you can see a big triangle. Yes, a little bit to your left, a little bit right there, right there. That's that second one is where we call the testing fair value gap. So when it came back, if you see, it came back to test that second big green buy signal on that hour, this hour setting you set. That's where they say it's testing the fair value gap. If it goes lower than half of that second one, that's mean it's on a downward trend. But as soon as it bounced off halfway, if you look at it, it didn't even reach halfway of that second big triangle. That means it's going to be a up signal. So this something you're seeing is going to go much higher.
yeah.
That's what they
So
call the fair value gap. It tested that big because those two big call days are the market buyers.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
okay.
yeah, go ahead.
No, finish. But
No,
that's what they call the fair value gap. So what I'm trying to say is the same thing we're saying. But it does.
yeah,
But I'm just more. I'm more. I just learned that like a month ago. I was like, what is this? They said always look at when you set the hourly trend, the trend you're looking for, and when you see those big candle gaps on either on the upswing or on the downswing, look for the second bigger trade day. And the second bigger trend day, if it's a long day like those, like the first one and the second one, those are market makers. It's not the small ones are the are people what we call the retailers. So if it goes back and test it, and when it tests the second one, it will always go back and test it. If it's strong, that's mean the market makers, they've put so much call order that is still waiting, that once it comes to that price, they have signal to buy more shares. And once it buy more shares, if you enter with them when it says buy more shares, as it's buy more shares, it's going up because they have a unlimited amount of funds. Then that's where you catch the trend with them.
Yeah. So yes, I mean that's why for my own trading thing, right? I mean, like I so everything you said, I'm pretty sure is accurate, but for my own trading thing, I just keep it very, very simple,
So,
right? I don't use fair value gap. I don't even try to like think about all that stuff. I just always just try to look at what trend is the stock on, right?
and you see, even look at it. It went, look at the something. It went all the way to that cell. You see that
Yeah,
big, and
yeah,
as soon as it touched it, it fell back down.
yeah.
Those that's
So
the market makers making it, doing
yeah,
that,
yeah.
and that's the sign that it's most likely, it might, to a higher probability, that it will go back and work its way back up to that cell area. So it's Claude that gave you the resistance and the support.
Yeah, it's called
Wow.
target. And the resistance and support are always there beforehand. So it's not
Yeah.
like and it does
Wow.
update as the price moves and adjusts. So right now it's telling me the resistance. Man, that's what I'm saying. 80% night. Sometimes the price can go into consolidation and this will
Yes.
now update. Like this will now update. But
Okay.
majority of the time when it shows me beforehand like that, it always happen. Which one did I? Awesome. So far this year, all my trade has actually been good since I started because I just created it
Wow.
like in December. Which other one did which other trade did I do before that? Okay, Oklo. This Oklo, I'm in it. I was making like $1,000, but I didn't sell it because that was just like just 2 hours after buying it. Where is it?
Wow. That indicates that is
So
very
so this one, right? I bought it here. Again, I took the buy here after I saw the zone. And once it closed there, I took the buy here, somewhere here, very early on. It got up here this day. I was making like pretty much my contract was almost 100%
mm,
on the same day.
wow.
But I ended up leaving it overnight because I was thinking because Oklo does move. When it moves, really I'm targeting here. Because if you look at the last time the price moved from this level, right? It pretty
Yes.
much made it up here.
Yes.
Right? Oklo does move. You can see it again here. It's the here again.
But
It
you
does
have
move
to
big.
always look at the left and see if there's a resistance. Like you see where you
Hmm.
just pointed,
Yeah, right here.
there's no resistance. So that's why it moved all the way. But look at the other spot to your right now. There's a resistance right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
So
why it responded to that resistance.
so
You
this
see?
this this move down because I really think on the second day it
Mhm.
was pre-market, it was already moved on a continuation, but then now this past Thursday and Friday we had like market
Big
was red all the way because one on Thursday Microsoft earnings was pretty much dragged the entire market down. Then on Friday, Trump announced the new Fed guy, and the market just reacted negatively to it. So those 2 days is what dragged it down. But I still think it will go back on that trend again. So I'm not going to close this contract yet, because
Mhm.
my contract is like 4 months out. But I think
Oh,
it's going to make the move. I might even just wait till if it comes back up tomorrow and close above this zone again. I'll add more to my position because I still think they will either make the move to this zone or break past this zone. So anyway, all these things is Claude that I'm using to do it, and all of it is from my from my AWS knowledge, right? So it's pretty much transferred into every aspect of my life.
So what
But
was the prompt you used to tell Claude to set to give you a script to set this resistance and support?
so it was based on this guy's strategy.
Okay.
ICC. And I'll show you guys this guy. This guy is a 22-year-old boy making serious money.
This young guys are cleaning
ICC strategy. Strategy.
That's why they say this young guy.
So it's pretty much based on this strategy. So with this guy's strategy, he doesn't use he doesn't look at fair value gap, even though those things are there, but he does not use those terms. He just basically just tell you stock is either going on an upward trend or downward trend. Upward trend, higher high, higher low. When stocks make a higher high and comes back and make a higher low, and you already draw your line there, if it retests it and breaks above it, then you take a buy because you know it's going to continue up. So I pretty much took all the notes from all his videos because I always watch his video. I take all the notes, then I ended up giving it to Claude to create an indicator for me. So this the guy. If you guys are interested, he's very good. I mean, just ignore, don't be open-minded because but he's a very like simple guy. Uh, he's a very simple guy, and all his teachings is for free. What am I doing? Trades. Right. Sorry. These are the type of people I like following. People that are just making big moves. Can you believe in January alone, this guy made like $6 million in January alone trading. And this boy is only 22. This boy, this guy. That's pretty much where I learned all my trading thing from him. And he gives it for free.
Oh, this guy, I know him. He made a killing in gold.
Yeah, I trade
Yes,
mostly trades gold and
yes. I just saw him last December during Christmas. And then he
yeah,
was talking. I was like, whoa, this is ridiculous.
it's
And
for real. It's for real. And
he's
it doesn't sell any course. And
not,
on his
not
Telegram, this is so crazy. It will show you his buy the day before. Like he will be calling
awesome.
it the day before. Like I say, I think you see how he's drawing the zone, right? That's all he does. He doesn't use any other, which is why I like it. You guys know how I explain AWS in kind of like you guys say I explain it in a simple way.
Yeah.
That's exactly how he explains trading. Because for me, when you start using the terms like fair value gap, um, RSI and all those things, it just is too much for me. I just need someone to show me in a simple way, okay, how can I have the best entry that I can, a good entry, not because before I used to just buy randomly. So when he explained it, his everything makes sense.
I'll go.
Everything makes sense. So
I
I
saw him on Instagram, but I didn't. Now I've
no,
seen you've given me
it's
his YouTube
it's
page.
for real. And you can see his trading journal. You guys see this trading
Wow.
journal? This trading journal, you can't fake this page. How do
Yeah.
I make it big? You can't fake this page. Whatever number is showing up here, that's exactly what it, because this trading journal plugs directly into your trading account. And all the trades you are making, it will just report it here. You can see here, it made 2 point on the 11, it made 2.2 million. Here it made 1.9 million, and here it made another 2.3 million. So it's a strategy that I'm using, and it's been helping me a lot. It's been helping me to make my trades profitable. So if you guys,
Because
anyone that is
prompted.
interested, hmm?
So go ahead. Sorry.
So if anyone is interested in trading, I would say check him out. You won't be disappointed. He doesn't sell calls. And he's very the most transparent guy out there that I've seen. And he does, yeah, I think he does gold and forex. He might do stock
Yes, that's
sometimes,
where
but
I saw it.
mostly he's like in trades golds and forex.
I
Yeah.
think that was what they make me push into following him. When I saw it was mostly gold and forex he was talking about. That was last month.
Yes.
Then
But the way he tells you to look at price as they are moving up and down is you can use it in anything, even in stock. You can use it. Because stocks, and as when he said it, it just makes so much sense to me. Because look at MU. You can see it. Stocks, when stocks are in an upward trend, they form higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, right? They always look at, you can almost even, MU is on the upward trend now, right?
yeah,
You can almost guarantee that this pullback is the stock forming in higher low to continue higher.
of course.
The
That's
next time this is going to break, it's probably going to break. Look at right now, the price is above 422, and the next high is probably going to break above that 450, 460. And guess what? Last night, the indicator market was already closed. And guess what? The indicator alert me. Right. Soon as it closed above that zone. So now on Monday, I'll just see how the price is reacting in this zone. I'm praying that it doesn't move $10 because it always seems to move $10 in pre-market or 20. So if it doesn't move, the price is still in this area. I'll see how price is reacting in this zone, and I can take my buy. You can see the indicator is already showing me now. I can take my buy from this zone to this zone. So that would be 422 to 448.
And you like doing calls most of the time.
Most of the time I do calls, but I'm starting to learn now.
You have to do
Mentally, I've been trying to convince myself to start looking into puts
that's
too.
where the money is, because for what you're doing, you know, about 75 to 80% of the time, there's more the market is more puts than calls.
On a shorter trend, but on a
Yes,
longer
because
trend, the market is much
yes,
more
because you're
bullish.
you're an options trader, so you're doing intermediate, you're a swing trader. In
Yeah,
that way. You're a
yeah,
swing trader, so you're looking for 1 month to 2 months.
yeah,
So most
exactly.
likely it's going to go, there's a higher probability for it to do puts. Like look at, okay, for example, look at this graph. Look at how big the put is, how long it is.
Yeah, this
It's
was
almost exactly what I'm
this
saying.
was a good.
It's double the other uptrend. That's exactly what I'm saying. But
Yeah,
on the
you're right.
longer term, if you're going like 6 months, yes, it's mostly that one you can't take it. 6 months to 1 year is going to be going
Upward.
high.
Yeah,
Yeah. But
correct.
if you're looking at 2 months, you know there is a higher probability. All this thing is probability. That's why now, because you're going for a longer, you're buying long 2 months options, which is very rare. Some people have money, all these millionaires, they do 1 year. So that increases your probability that even though you make a bad call, the worst scenario is you break even.
Yeah,
You
I agree.
understand?
Yeah, I
Break
agree.
even.
So that's what I always do. I just buy longer call in the money, not in the money, meaning at the support that. So right now, if I was to enter this on Monday, I'll buy a 420 call or 421, 420, whichever one is available. So I'm already I'll pay the premium, and any move up to this area, I'm already making money. And one thing I'm learning now is because of the market is just not always very stable for long period of time, like you said, because there's a lot of puts in between that going up. So I'll just close it. I'll be closing. Let's say if I enter this trade and it makes a move, even if you don't touch this zone, it makes a move anywhere in this range, I'm closing it.
Let me give you a good example. You see, it has given you a sell signal on the top. But if you look at the left, there's already before that sell signal, there's already a resistance.
Yeah, Ryan.
Right there. So put one, if like now, if you bought it at 420, let's for example, if I was you, because of that resistance, before that something, I will sell right before it really touches that resistance at 444.
Mm-hmm.
Then
I see.
if it
Yeah.
exactly sell at 444, then now when it breaks that resistance,
And pull back
it's
to it, then you know it's on an
out,
upward trend. Yeah.
it's going up. I will double down. I'll
Yeah,
put
I know.
double
You're right. You're right.
and go with it.
Yeah, you're right.
And hopefully it will give me more indicators
Mm-hmm.
of entry and exit.
Yeah.
Then sometimes if it tells me it's going down, then I won't even go inside at all. I will just wait for it to give me that. But like now, if there was no resistance on the left, I will wait for it and sell at that sell price.
I
But once
agree.
I see that in the resistance, don't take the risk. It's like there's a all country music. You've not made money till you cash out.
It's true. It's true. It's true.
I made that mistake for years and years. I'm always on the right, but I will wait and say, "Hey, is this place I want to go?"
Mm-hmm.
It should be $1 to my sale. If they
Mm-hmm.
know what you're doing, because this they are doing an aggregation of everybody that are seeing
Mm-hmm.
the same thing. They will just put their sell price $1 to $5 to where they know you want to sell and sell the market there. That's why they keep
Mm-hmm.
making money. They are taking your money and they are trying to
Mm-hmm.
frustrate you for you to sell. And when you
True.
sell, they made your money.
It's true.
So,
I agree.
so so that's why I asked you what I was like. I've been looking for something, an indicator like this to tell me all these things. So because I've been doing it manually, I can see all these things. But you need nobody is better than AI. AI has done
Exactly.
all the computation because
Exactly.
what you're not seeing is it's looking at volumes,
Exactly. We're
and
looking
it's
at
volumes that really pushes the market where everybody is coming in and when everybody is running out. So it's that thing that is seen. That's the key thing to say, oh, market they this side though. Melna face this side. Then everyone faces this side. Now it's telling you, okay, for when you don't face this side, don't reach this side though. When you reach this side, Melna jabo, okay, then everybody will scale. So me, I'm using my little knowledge. I'll say, before even he says Melna jabo, I don't see resistance for left. I see alayes, they for one corner, they wait for now before na jabo. I'm not going to even wait before Alaye reach that side. I won't come out.
yeah. So you're definitely right. That was actually my reason for selling my meta when I was in that meta call. That was the one of the reasons why I sold it.
Beautiful. This is beautiful.
I sold that meta core. Let me go on the 4 hour because the 4 hour, yeah. This meta core, that was one of the reasons why I sold it here.
Wow.
Because like what you said to the left of
Perfect.
it, that was
Yeah.
the reason. And it did stall there, like market
Yes, you see,
close, but then
right there.
the next day is when it just continued back
So
up.
now when it
Right.
continue, you will enter double.
Yeah.
You
I
will
should
put
have,
double.
but I didn't. I just left it alone. But I did.
Especially you won't enter immediately right there. Once it passes that, you see, you create that right there. That's where you
Right.
enter.
Yeah.
Then you be like, it has surpassed that resistance. You see now, that's why everybody you see that big candlestick.
Mm.
That's why it jumped because everybody saw it's past that resistance to the left, and everybody doubled. See that big long candle there, a little bit to the right.
This was the earnings. It's the earnings that did this one.
Oh, it's the earnings.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's the earnings that did that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, not the play. I made 100,000 with Apple on the earnings like that. That was like 10 years ago. But since then, I know they play with earnings. I don't lose past because now
It's
before
true.
in the olden days, when they were doing iPad, everybody was doing iPad. That's why I made that money because I knew they couldn't go wrong. But now they know everybody packs their money on earnings, so they
Earnings, yeah.
manipulate.
So they manipulated. Yeah, now a company, look at it, Microsoft earning was good. Sales, what is it? Sales, not sales, but ServiceNow's earnings was good. Actually really good.
All
And
of
they
them,
still came down.
they still come down.
As a matter
Even
of fact, Apple's earnings was good this week too, and they still came down. So,
even
because
that's
Now the
The-
earnings is not just if a company beats any that their stock price is going to go up. It doesn't do that anymore. So that's why,
Sometimes, you know when I know it's manipulation? They know everybody's buying options on the earnings.
Mhm.
So even though sometimes it can beat earning, but you will lose money. Do you know what they'll do? They'll force during the aftermarket, they'll force drop it to,
Mhm.
to remove all your premiums, then take it up when like an hour before the market opens. Now there is no premium. The the premium you had before you bought it before the earning, it has gone. So
Yeah.
that's manipulation, and they're
Yeah.
purposely doing it. That's why I said, you know what, this earnings, I don't I'm not participating. But before, it used to be beautiful. You can tell, like, if it's why we're talking of AI, you can go and look at an AI company and know that they're going to make a killing during their earning. I just pack all your money right there and sit back. But now, once I saw these different techniques, I don't do earnings anymore because everybody has been
Yeah.
beating their earnings, like you just said, but it's not translating in the stock price. They'll say
Yeah.
they'll just give
It's
one
true.
lousy excuse. To
The
future
guidance, forward guidance. That's
exact
what they
finder
call it.
guidance. That's
Yeah.
what they will say. Forward guidance.
Yeah.
Forward guidance. I'm like, look at these people.
Last year too, the same thing happened to me, but I ended up losing all that money too because any strategy is never a good strategy. And there's this guy, another guy that I follow. That guy is also a millionaire trading options. He's also a
Mm,
young guy too. The guy, is one of his quote that I really like is like any strategy any strategy you use that is not really a strategy that makes you money will eventually lose you money. So
mm.
if you are using a strategy and now it seems like it's working, but it's not really a strategy, it's just whatever you are doing, you are making money for now. Eventually, it's going to lose you money. So when I've only been trading options for a year and a half. When I
Okay.
first came in, I started doing earnings. Earnings was the one thing I was doing. Initially I made a lot of money doing earnings. One time, one week last year, no, 2024. It was Tesla's earning. I made 100,000 in one week. I
Wow.
made I made 50,000 on Tesla's earnings, and I now made actually I could have even made more. I could have made more, but I sold my contract too soon. Then I made another 50,000 that same week on what's this bank? Goldman Sachs. I
Oh
made
yeah.
another 50,000 on them that same week. So it was actually Goldman Sachs. I made the money on like a Monday, on a Tuesday, then on Wednesday I made money on Tesla.
Okay, let me give
And
you one.
and I ended up, so you know what that did to me psychologically? I
Yes, you
started
said
dumping
looking at
more money
everybody's
into
earning.
earnings. As I
Yeah,
I was
that's
I
why
was
you
betting
lose
like 10K on people's earnings here, 20K on people's earnings, and I lost all of it.
everything.
So
Yeah,
that kind of forced me to now actually learn how to
trade.
interpret candles. And I tried did all that stuff. Then I end up on this guy. This guy was the last one. And I just like how he
He's
explains
doing
things. The way he explains things makes sense to me. I'm able to see stocks on an upward trend and a downward trend. And for him, he doesn't chase anything. He's just mainly looking at stocks on an upward trend or downward trend, and he's placing himself in one of those positions there on when they are either continuing up or coming back down. And I like that strategy so much. So
yeah,
far
but you have
this
to
year,
start
all my
looking
trades has
down.
been good.
You have to be looking down because that's where the real money is.
Yeah.
Puts the
Yeah,
real
I'll
money.
say I'll summon up my courage to start
You just
buying
start small,
puts.
small, and because naturally, even I'm like that. I've been trading for a long time, and I'm not still used to puts because we are born to be optimistic.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always like, yes, it will go higher. Stock is to go make money. How does money go get bigger? By going higher. But the real money is in puts. Someone broke it down. He said, okay, if you know construction, do you know how long it takes to build a house? Just to build it. It can take you 6 months to get to the second level. But do you know how long it takes to fall a house? You can fall a house in one day.
Yeah.
So that's stock market.
Yeah.
That
It makes
that
sense.
stock you're trying to build will take you 2 months to get to where you want to build. But if you put puts in one day, that money you would have made in 6 months to build that house, you make it in one day by buying puts. You just have to understand where
Yeah.
the puts come.
I always say the put, but I just don't like, for example, now this is already showing indications of put because there was a big
So
sell here and the same thing happened here.
right there. That's it.
So you
That's
already know. So by the time this next one tried to break there and it failed here, you
to
could
fail.
now take
It
your
will
put
come down.
position here.
Now it has
Right.
touched it 3 times. Three
Yeah.
times, and the magic number in stock market is 3. It has touched it 3 times and it didn't break through. So it's going to keep going down. It's
Yeah.
going
We'll
to
see.
keep going down. And you see that okay, like I say, fair value gap. You see the first big buy day. That's the market maker. You see the second one to your
Yeah.
left. That's the key value gap. It's testing. So now the test has failed because the stock went low more than half of that second big gap. So that means
Mhm.
it will keep going down. That's the
Yeah.
way to look at, like the same thing was both saying the same thing. No, that now I'm going deeper. That's another indicator of saying, yes, I know this thing will keep, like you said, is going down. But now if you want, if it would have gone up, you see that fourth green day where your arrow is, your cursor just go up. Yes, right there. Once you reach that day, it's supposed no to the right.
Which one?
Mm-mm. Yes, you see, it touched that second big, so it touched half of that second big trending day. If if it could have continued going up, it will keep on going up. But on the next day or hour, I think it's by day.
It's like
On the next day,
I'm on it's on a 4 hour time frame.
okay, on that 4 hour, it went back down and was more than that second something. So you will see it will continue going down. That's how your
But you also have to factor that this is showing like a little bit resistance here, and this is also on a day where the entire market is like that. You understand? And
yes.
this is after and this so this all plays like an ending steam. I just don't really even know how it's going to do, right? Because even I still feel like this is a small resistance on on a day where the entire market is look at QQQ is 7% down. I mean $7 down 1%. AMD, look at even AMD is down $15, 6%. So this you have to just factor in mind that this is also due to like the major thing on Friday, Thursday and Friday. So we'll see when Monday comes, when tomorrow we'll see. I mean on Monday, we'll see.
And you should always know that everybody, like from back down there, from the day of 22nd, 21, on the day of 21st,
Mm-hmm.
everybody has been buying.
Yeah.
Now they are trying
Mm-hmm.
to make their
So
profit.
exactly, that is
So you
true.
will know if they want to collect their
That is
money.
true.
So
That is
you
true.
have to be thinking from that perspective.
Mm-hmm.
These guys have been there. It's time to collect their money. Oh. So
Mm-hmm.
how will they collect? Everybody is selling, and you see big, big candle days. So they put in money. See that? I beg. So it's all, like I said, all of it is probability. So you're reading. You have to read long term, short term, what's going. So this chart gives you a very, that's why I love Meta. Very easy to trade and you make money. If you have cash, very, very easy because it's telling you, if you know how to read all these charts, it's telling you stories.
Mm-hmm.
And from those stories, you'll be like, it's easy. See this one, um, it's time to it's time to pull out. It's time to buy. Then like another indicator I will give you is MFTR. MFTR is a stock that looks at a combination of all the what do you call it? Um, what do you call this thing? it's like a ETF, but it's the company that packages all the cryptocurrency
Oh, okay. Yeah.
and is based in Bethesda, Maryland. So, but on the it has been having a very strong downtrend.
MicroStrategy, is that the one you're saying?
Yes, MicroStrategy.
I have it on my thing. It's down now because crypto is down. So see,
But if you look at
I just have it on my
put a
all time low.
look at
It's
sell,
down. This
see.
one, if I want to buy it, I'll just buy a 2-year contract. That's it. I'm not even going to try to
But you
like
will
do
see
the trend.
if you look at you will see a resistance at $100. It's still at 144
Mm-hmm.
or 153 now. If you look well, go back, you will see the resistance is at 100. Look at this,
Yeah, right here, like 101.
right there. That's where the resistance. So it's still going to come down and touch that resistance. That's what it's trying to do. So they're marketing it so people for them to come down, people have to put money. So they're marketing it so people put money and they will get burnt till it reaches that 40 for $200 from 140 to 100 is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to test that your put, I would say that's the best place to test that put.
Yeah, I mean, I know. I'll
But
wait.
no, but with your strategy, that strategy
Yeah,
is that's
yeah.
why I'm asking. You don't, nobody knows because that's like the regular retail traders, because of ChatGPT and Claude, we have an edge over this market traders. Before, they were just cleaning us left, right, and center, and that's why my strategy before was on earnings, because I was like, okay, you guys can't manipulate earnings. I know this company is doing good. I'm going to park my money here on earnings, and when it does good, as soon as the earnings beats it, I collect and I move on. I stay on cash. But once I say seeing that they enter the earnings, I stay trying to manipulate, saying on guidance and all this was. That's why I just said, you know what? Right now, I start following you. I just screenshot it, ask ChatGPT, what do you do? I tested it about 8 times and it was on the money. It was about 90% right. The only
Okay.
the only stock it was wrong on was that MFTR, because because it's it's very volatile. It's very
Yeah.
volatile. It's like 60% right. If it's 90% right on other stocks, it's like 60% right on MFTR, because sometimes MFTR will just be there. It will just decide, okay, I'm going up, and it go by 20 points, like an earnings within 1 hour.
Yeah.
Nobody can, so someone is manipulating it 20 points within 1 hour. Wow. So um that's just it. But
Yeah.
I
So
would try. I
anyway,
would use that.
so that's pretty much long story short, Claude is very good to use. You can pretty much use it for pretty much
I
every
did not.
aspect.
I'm still trying. I'm still sorry to interrupt. I'm
No,
still
go ahead.
trying
No, go
to
ahead.
get to just show me an example of like you take a screenshot and then you deploy it through on it so that it gave you actually the
It
correlate.
depends on what are you trying to do exactly? Like
He
what
wants to
you
copy you.
Let,
He wants to copy your
so
strategy.
so
yeah, safe. Okay.
so it depends on what you are trying to do. Like so for
Uh,
example, let's say I want to ask like what Victor is saying. So let's say I want to do this talk right now, right? It just depends. So everything with AI is just about your prompt. Your prompt is one of the most important thing because if you
mm,
can tell it exactly what you want, most of the time it would give you exactly the right answer. So you can I took the screenshots there and I can go in Claude and I can
Upload it.
upload it here. And I can say what is the First, I'm just typing around something random. The this image. Where is the support level? Level for this stock. I'm just typing something randomly. So it's just based on, because I can't, that's what I'm saying, everything is based on where, everything is based on
The input.
what you are trying
Yeah.
to ask, what you want out of it, then it will give you the right answer. So it's pretty much saying, looking at the 4 hours chart, I can identify few key support level. So right here, saying 110 to 112, right? And we can look at that immediate resistance, turn support 116, 117. So it says the stock broke down from 136,
See
which is
that
the
VWAP?
yeah.
Tells you
So
VWAP too.
which has been
Is
acting like
VWAP,
a
it uses
consolidated
all the time.
support area, right? So it said for potential long entry, right? So right here is giving you for potential long entry, a successful retest and hold of 110 to 112 with volume confirmation or
Yes.
reclaim of 120. So if you look at the chart, so right here, right? It's pretty much saying here around here 110. Let me reset this. So right here, 110 to 112, somewhere here. So which my zone is showing me here. So me, anything above here would be buying for me. So that's a strategy I actually use because the zone that the indicator always prints out for me, I trust it because most of the time it is accurate, like 80% of the time, 90%, unless if the stock goes into consolidation or some news comes out overnight and things change, right? So it's saying here, or you can wait till it reclaims here because there's like a long selling, there's like a sell-off here. So it's saying if it breaks above here, then it's a buying, right?
Yeah, okay.
So but this was also this drop was also an earnings drop, so that's something to keep in mind.
See.
Like
So
every
but
past, okay, go ahead.
so but basically whatever what you ask it is based on what you are trying to do. Right? You can learn something in simple English language. You can go and watch someone's course, right? Right? Like here where I put this ICC strategy, right? It's giving me this definition. You can give, you can literally give,
continuation.
you can literally copy this and give it to Claude.
Based on
And
that.
say, do you think, not even think, can you turn this into trading view indicator? So you can use simple language, give it to it, and it's just very smart enough that it can pretty much do the. I really haven't seen any limitations. So like you can see here, I just literally use that simple language, turn into like it would literally turn into like code using that, and it will explain what it did, right? So you can see it's turning into code. It will explain what it did, but obviously the code is just from my own, I can't really tell you what I typed in there to come up with my indicator because it's like a long working thing. Like when I test it, I will say, okay, fix this part, fix that part.
Okay.
But it's just something I was doing for a very long time. Not very long time, like 1 month period. I was just typing different prompt to When I'll test it, I'll say, okay, this is not reacting the way I want it to react. Change this here. And I also wanted to trade on a 4-hour time frame. Then I tell you, okay, I want it on a 4-hour time frame. So it just depends. I feel like the knowledge part of it, which is the same way when we are doing Terraform, I always say the knowledge part of it, you guys can escape that. First, you have to go and learn that thing or have a good
Then
understanding of it. Then you now
as
can
well.
tell it exactly what you want to do. You understand? Because if, well, as I paste this there, if it is giving me this code, right? Which this is the code now, so it's telling you exactly what it did, right? I can download it. If I download it, you'll see the code here. This is the code. It's showing up on my other screen. Let me drag it here. This is the code, right? But then when you now test it, you'll be able to say, okay, this is not what I want to do. This is what I want to do. So Claude is just helping you do the work, but you are pretty much the one directing it on what to do. But I'm saying that whatever you are trying to do, it is very good at doing it. It is good at helping you get the type of result you are looking for.
So when you
That you are the one who needs to dictate it.
So when you finally got finally tested the script it gave you, you just copied that script to what you want.
So once you get that script in TradingView, you just come over here. In TradingView, you come over here. They've moved it, and I'm always like, so anyway, if you click on your indicators, right? I can click on any indicator here. It will open this page, but I don't know how to get here. I think you can do it from file. Anyway,
Or you
it will
input
open.
those value
So
and
here,
then wow.
so it will come here. If you come here, you just do new indicator and you remove whatever is here and you just take
what it gave
the one and then you paste
whatever
it. Wow.
Claude gave you, right? And you just paste it here.
Sit there. So now it will be following.
And you do save. And this is it.
I see.
Save. Then you can now add it to your chart.
Wow.
And you can see, I mean, this is kind of like a rough. So you can see here is printing an indication selling. It's even drawing some support and resistance. They're saying sell. So based on what it interpreted the thing as, so this is what it came up with. Then you can now say, okay, you know what? I don't want all this. So that's what I'm saying. I can't really give you a perfect example now, but because if I was doing it based on what I want to do, and I'll say, okay, yeah, I'm seeing all these buys. You can now even now take these screenshots. So like we can do this. You can now download this screenshot. Can now give it back to it again.
And clean it up. So they call cleaning in AI.
And give it back to it. I will now say, I see too many buys and sell. Please show me. Please print only the major ones. I don't know. So I'm just randomly saying stuff, right? So it would. So one thing I like about Claude, it is not going to give you a new code. It is going to go back in this code, rewrite it, only sections of it that it needs to rewrite. It's always the same code. I don't care if you ask it 1,000 questions. It will always be the same code that it will edit back.
That is working compared to ChatGPT, which
ChatGPT
can
will
tweak
give you a new entire code every single time, and that's why
different strategy self.
Yeah, exactly. So that's one thing that's why I started. That was why even because ChatGPT was the first to come out. I had a habit of using ChatGPT, going
I've
to
been using
ChatGPT for
ChatGPT
everything.
to you convinced us to use Claude last week, and
Yeah.
and it has changed. It was just last week I just started using Claude, the free
Yeah.
version. Oh
Mhm.
Yeah.
my God,
It's very good.
huge difference,
It's very good.
Wow.
huge
Okay.
difference,
Mhm.
It's very good.
huge. And the depth of the research, oh,
Mm-hmm. It's very
is
good.
so
And I like
much
it
deeper.
because it's not going to overwhelm you with a lot of information. It's going to tell you. You'll see once it's done with this, it will tell you in like short words, short bullet points, straight to the point, what it did and what it changed. It's not showing you a bunch of different things. So you can see key
Mm.
changes, reduce the noise, told you exactly what it did. And it's just always very straightforward. It's always the same code, but it will modify the same code. You will be getting the same version of the code every single time,
Wow. Okay.
every single time. And it would modify to I think this is the new one he created. It will just modify it to so I just come here. Now click on that strategy. Now just Control A, Control V, and I will update it.
Wow.
And you can see now
Shit.
it's showing me cell here.
Mm.
Close this. Showing me cell here. And right now it's even showing that see where my other zone is for my is actually even picking up on that zone too. This is a separate indicator, by the way. It's saying there's a support here. Let me turn off my zone. You can see this new is showing there's a support here and there's a resistance there.
Mm.
So it's pretty much showing this is showing to this as hold in long enough for it to see it as a support. Whatever calculation is doing. So yeah, so that's it. I mean, it's good to play around with it, but
Yeah. No.
basically
Thank
the
you so
main thing
much.
is
Mm.
learning the thing first. Then you can
Mm.
now direct it. For example, when I wanted to create my website, I told it
Mm.
exactly what I was trying to create. Then once it helped me, because I wrote down all the things I was trying to do. Then when it formulated into words for me, and I said, do the website for me. Show me exactly what the website will look like, the colors, everything. It came up with
Mm.
this. You can see whatever I came up with here is the same exact thing that my website is going to look like now. This is my new website.
Yeah.
How my own page look is the same exact thing. Down to the spacing, the font, every
And
single thing.
and you know one
Mm.
skill. Let me just throw this inside. Like if you go to a website that you like the website,
Mm.
what you can do is say, see, follow the scheme of this website
Mhm. True.
and to use that same scheme in creating a website for me with the script and everything. Then
Yeah.
you're like, and it will just do everything exactly.
Yeah.
And like you said, you can adjust the UI and change, okay, remove this part, remove that part, apply this part, and you will
Yeah.
get an exact script of some dynamic websites.
Yeah.
That's what people are doing now. You'll see some very
Mhm.
nice website. You're like,
Mm.
so
Do
sophisticated.
you want me to send you this code you just wrote? I can send that one
Yeah.
to you.
Please. Yeah.
I'll
That.
put it in the
No. Very
chat here.
good. Thank
But
you.
another key part is having this trading view account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
So it's in the chat. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I've downloaded it already.
Yeah.
Thanks.
no waste time.
So, but
No, it's
once you
fine.
learn, I say first like learn like the good person to watch. I say this guy is very good.
I'll go and watch him. I'll watch him.
He's very good. He's a
Mm.
good person to follow when it comes to
So
trading.
you have to watch him to understand his mindset and strategy.
Exactly, and strategy. It just doesn't even teach you the strategy. It teaches you the mindset, how you have to look at things. Pretty much everything for free.
Wow.
So
Because I know nothing about trading, so I will try also
Trading
to
is
go
not hard.
through a little bit slowly
You
and
just
see
need all
how.
the keywords. You just have to understand. And it's like small basic statistics we learned in primary school. You just have to understand that you see all those things, like you see EMA is estimated moving average. You know it.
And this cloud here
Average.
that you are using, is it the pay one or the just the normal one?
I'm using the paid one.
Okay, okay,
I think on the normal one, the free one, it's not. It only gives you three. Like I am using the free one, it only gives you three. In a day, it's in 24 hours. To give you three uploads to put on it. After the upload, it will advise you, hey, you have to get a subscription if you want more. So the best one is don't be cheap about it. I just learned this about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Get the trading view paid subscription, get the Claude paid subscription. Believe me, if like this script you just learned now, within the first day, if you have 1,000, you make your money back trading. You
Wow,
make your money.
wow.
It cuts down so much learning process and
Yeah.
streamlines everything. You start thinking, you'll be like, wow, but that's the
Yeah.
power of AI. It's
Anyway, yeah, I do have to go now, but
Okay.
I want to address something with this not related to you guys, but it's like a AWS question. Sincere Convo, yes, I saw your message, but that's not a process, that's not a problem. I can process it for you, but I'm just telling you, I'm going to be very transparent and be honest with you, right? I'm also I'm also like I'm also in my 40s, right? When I started learning maybe like when I was very close to being 40, right? So the point of the Udemy video is so that you can watch it and learn. So in the Udemy videos, you are not doing any project. You are not doing any console stuff. So even if you see Stefan Marek doing anything in the console, don't do it. Don't follow along with him. I'm going to teach you all that console stuff, which is why that's what we are doing here in the projects. That's what you've seen us doing with all the projects we've done so far. So the point of the Udemy course is you can't start building projects in AWS if you don't know what you are building. You don't even know what the service is. The point of the Udemy course is to teach you just the concept of the cloud. What is cloud computing? What services does AWS offer? What is an EC2 instance? What is an S3? You are only supposed to watch the Udemy videos to just get those concepts, like to understand what EC2 is, what S3 is, auto scaling groups. So that way, when we start the hands-on projects and we start using it, it makes sense, right? You can just jump straight into hands-on projects and doing stuff, which is how I tried to start initially when I started. And it was very confusing. And I had to go back and do the Udemy course, which is the same roadmap that I use that I've also taught so many people is the same one I'm laying out for you. So I'll say you are kind of doing yourself a disservice by looking at saying because you are at this time you can learn this way and you can learn. Trust me, you can learn. You just have to. In the beginning, is it going to be challenging? Yes, but I guarantee that if you stick with it, you will learn, right? Which is why I'm saying even the old Udemy thing, you are supposed to watch the Udemy course for the concept. So don't do any if Stefan Marek is creating an S3 bucket, is creating IAM user, don't do any of that. Just write your notes, jot down what these things means. Then once you are done with the Udemy course, you come back, then you can now do the um, hands-on part, which is the one where I start teaching you. Then that's when we'll create IAM user. Then if you have questions, I can explain this is how it works. So that's the point of it. But I can definitely do oblige your request. That's no problem at all. But I'm just saying, yeah, even if you go to somewhere else, don't let someone else lie to you that. And the thing about the cloud is also The part that I'm laying down for you guys is how it is when you start working. Because the cloud, yes, it is a field that pays a lot of money, but it is also a field where they don't hold your hands through anything.
Oh,
You would have to be
What do you mean?
resourceful.
What do you mean by that? Hold your hands.
Like
Mhm.
you have to be resourceful. You have to know what you are doing. You have to come in with some type of experience, right? Right.
Mhm.
It is a
Mhm.
field that they can assign something you don't know to you. They can just give you a work today. It is a service you haven't worked with before, but you are able to use the knowledge of what you have to go work on it, right? So
I
that's why
see.
when you do all this project, you have enough experience to, even if they assign something new to you, you'll be able to work on it, right? So it's not a
Mhm.
field where, and the best way to learn cloud is 50-50. You need someone that can help you troubleshoot. That's where I come in. Can explain certain things to you when you have questions. That's where I come in. They can show you the roadmap. That's where I come in. But the best way to learn the cloud is 50-50, almost even 70-30. I come in 30% of time. You are 70. Like you have to sit down and be able to look at the information, interpret the information, and do the work and understand it. So it is not the best way to learn the cloud is not if someone is telling you click this, click that. You just need someone to show you the information of what to do. Then you try to go do it. Then you come back with your own questions. Okay, I don't understand this part. I don't understand this part. Then the person can elaborate on it, and that's how you
Clarify
learn.
on that. Mhm.
So,
Okay.
so
well,
that's what I want to say. But I'll definitely once I log in, I'll do as you requested. But think about it. Let me know, and we can move on. You know what? I'll even process your request. But I'm still telling you, if this is a field you are trying to still pursue, you can't limit your knowledge of learning to just when someone is telling you click here, click this, click that. You still have to be able to sit down and look
understand.
at those things someone is explaining to you and try to understand it.
That's
So
why if you know, as if you notice, I'm not doing any of your projects. There's a reason behind it. Because I went through an academy, paid a lot of money, and that was exactly what you're saying. That was the way they were doing. Press this, press that, press that. We didn't even know what we were pressing. We're just pressing, pressing, pressing. Yes, you finished the project, but can you explain what you did? No. So I was like, what? I'm like, I will understand half of it. I won't understand half of it. So I came up with the concept that, okay, with what I know, like thinking outside the box. Then I will go to YouTube. This one will preach this one will preach that. It was even confusing me the more because I know this concept, is telling me this concept, they are overlapping. So thank God for ChatGPT. So I started using ChatGPT to streamline those concepts to put things together. So now what I told myself is like what you said, observe, understand, let it digest. Then from what you digest, like even you said 70-30 percentile, I think it's even 90-10. Now when you've understood what you've done, now you go back and start from project one and start doing it. Then when you have problems, that's when that 10% comes from. Then from that 10%, of troubleshooting, you will even understand the concept better. And that's why I ask these kind of questions. Some people think I'm asking questions because I'm trying to understand a concept from a high level. So I know I'm not just pressing button, carrying here and pasting it. No, I understand why I'm doing what I'm doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
From
yeah,
getting the concept, saying, oh, this module. That's why for a long time, no, for example, nobody knew what output was in the module part. No one asked. So I'm like, but I knew what export was, but no one was there. Output, output. I said, where's this output? I said, okay, it's not making sense to me. Okay, you understand main and variable. Main is what you're providing, and since you don't want to store everything in main, you don't want to hard code it, you create a variable file for it, and that's where you store your something. Well, what is this output? I knew what remote repository is. I asked, they said, oh, it's export. You're just exporting it to remote repository. That's and
Yeah.
during an interview, that was I had the interview. That was the key. The guy just went, he said, don't just hire you for Terraform. Just explain your idea. Like you said, in your own Terraform, Evan, you have different ways. Just explain your way, how you be doing your Terraform, creating Terraform, something. And the way Azeez has explained it, create a module. This is what will be in your module. From that module, you will have a main, output, and variable. You know, everything in your main is probably your resources, and in the variable, you don't want to hard code everything in your main that is in your resource. So you create a variable, and once you want to export it into the CI/CD part in a remote repository with your Git, that's where you create output. Boom. That's what you wanted to hear. I said, how simple. But it took, if you don't understand that concept, you don't understand it. You can talk from here to Mexico. You don't understand it. But once you tell this guy's okay, he knows. Okay, so now from that module, I don't have to anything you give me. I don't have to do it from scratch. I have my modules for different resources, and that's the concept I've been using. If I want to start a new project, I start the project, and I know now I have a main, a backend, and a provider. The export is what I'm exporting from the module into the project. And from there, in the project, I will create the X, Y, and Z. And my backend is this, and this is the architecture I'm using. Boom. That's okay. Now it makes sense to me. So now when I start your project, knowing this concept, I know what I'm doing. When I create this variable, you understand? I know the reason I'm creating. I'm not just creating a variable because I know how to create a variable. I know the reason I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm
So
writing it in
yeah,
notes.
exactly. That's correct. So, and if you
That's a
is there
question.
anyone here, like, is there anyone here? So pretty much everyone here went through that Udemy course too, right? This is just like a good foundation. That I feel like he did a good job explaining just like those AWS concepts. So everyone here is required to do it, right? So it's
And the
like
exam as
really
well. We need
it's
to write the
the
exam.
yeah, the exam you can even do that whenever you are ready, whenever you feel ready. You can do it when you are done with all your projects. But it's the Udemy course is a good foundation to starting because you just need to understand the concept first. And by that I just mean understand when we say we are using EC2, no, understand what it means. S3, understand what it means. So that's why the
Okay.
course is the Udemy course is there. Don't do any of the demo he's doing. If he's doing a demo, you can just watch it just to watch. And when you start your hands-on project, trust me, you will learn way more than that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are the recording, like today recording, where do you place them if I need
It's
to
on
see
my
them during the
it's
week?
on my YouTube channel. So if you on
Ah,
my
the
YouTube,
daily one.
yeah. So let me
Can you please show me?
yeah, I can
And
show you.
then,
So if you go to my YouTube channel here, go to my channel, you go to live, you'll see them here. So the current one is
okay.
here.
Yes, this
Yeah.
one I've seen them. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. No, great. Okay.
Very organized.
All right.
Very organized.
Anyway, thank you. I
Question.
mean,
Okay.
I have
Thanks
one
so much.
question before you leave,
yeah,
please.
sure, Victor.
You're going to do a CI/CD project, right?
Yes, next week we'll start next
Okay.
week.
And then you would explain dependencies and library during that process, right?
No, there's no whatever. If there's a dependency, whatever I need to explain with it, I will explain.
Explain with it. Okay.
But CI/CD is more of scripting too. It's kind of
Yeah.
like Terraform too. So it's
Yes.
not coding, right? So we are not. It's not like Python where we are digging into like. Even me, I don't even understand all those library and all that stuff. So from basic, I can just from basic thing like library is just like something that exists somewhere, code that exists somewhere that you can go use. That's like how you can go check
Like
out a
you
book,
sync it into the CI/CD
sync it to
pipeline.
your own code, and you can use it there, right?
Yes.
So I'm assuming I'm taking like a educated guess that that's what it is. So those are
No,
those
because you talked about dependency
Python.
like PHP, Apache today. So I was like, okay,
Oh
I
yeah,
know that.
so that is dependencies means that in our context means that when you launch an EC2 instance from AWS and you are using the EC2 instance to deploy an application, AWS does not know what type of application you are trying to deploy.
Okay.
There is no JS application, there is
Uh,
JavaScript, there is Python, there is PHP, right? Or whatever application exists out there. So AWS is not going to give you an EC2 instance that comes prepackaged with all those softwares on it, right? So based on whatever application you are trying to install on the server, right, on the EC2, you have to now install the software that those application needs. That's what I mean by dependencies.
wow.
For every application you are trying to host, you are trying to deploy, those application has a section that says server dependencies, meaning that you need to enable this on on the EC2. You need to turn on the mode rewrite, install the software, delete these things. So that's what we mean by server dependencies.
So like this project we're working on, what dependencies are we using?
There's no dependencies because CI/CD is like a container. The container we'll be using is provided by GitHub.
No, like I'm saying, like these EC2s we're using for this project, are there is it running on certain programs? Because by your explanation, you're telling me
Yeah, we installed
the stuff.
PHP. We installed
Okay, it's
PHP,
PHP.
Apache, and
Okay,
all those things. Yeah,
okay, okay,
things we
okay.
needed on it. Yeah.
All right, got you.
Yeah.
So basically, the dependencies are these software programs that we're using. Okay, got you.
The software program that your application needs to run.
Needs to run. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Because it was a key question in one of my interviews. They were like, hey, you're going too fast. What
Oh, okay.
dependencies are you using for this CI/CD process? And after that, that was when I just started fumbling. And I was like, I knew. From there, I said, if I didn't answer this question, I'm not going to get this job. And I
Yeah.
could tell from the persons, when I couldn't answer that question, the person didn't even want to go further anymore. I was like,
Yeah.
wow. So now it makes sense. I mean, I knew it, but I didn't know how to explain it. You
Yeah.
understand? Now you've
Okay.
explained it, and I said, okay. That's why immediately you explained it. I just understood what you meant. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
No problem.
Yeah.
Anyway, who was the other person we were talking to? Did you have a question or did I answer your question? Oh, you were asking me. I did already. All right. Anyway, I have to
Okay.
go. So thank you guys. So
Thank you so
remember
much.
next week I'll say if I have any
CID.
yeah, we'll start
Mhm.
CI/CD next week. If I have any reference file I need to share with you guys, I will email you guys beforehand. So
Okay.
all right.
Okay.
Well, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank
And
you.
We'll do
have
that. Okay.
a good weekend, guys.
You too.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye. All right,
Thank
bye.
you.
Mhm. Bye-bye. Mhm.
Bye.
Thank you, Azeez.
Thank you, sir. Bye.